One. Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you with podcast number 263 with Bleeves Crypto on potential government shutdown, DEVVE, macro, and most recently the Bears score, where I don't know in which arenas you can bet, whether it's DraftKings or I think out of the top 10 sports apps on like your phone, Google Play Store, whatever, I think half of them are like sports betting things. And if it were me and I get like 1,000 to 1 odds I don't even know football like that, but if I see 1,000 to 1 odds at the Bears like can win, I'll throw $10 at it because 1,000 to 1. Why not? Do it all the time. One of them's bound to hit.
The Bears went crazy. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about the Chicago Bears at this point, other than they are incredibly resilient right now and just seem to keep finding new ways to win games when it matters. I mean, what more could you ask for, too, if you're a fan?
That's like that episode. Have you ever watched Recess back in the day?
Not that I'm familiar with.
It was like one of the only good like Disney cartoons. Like I feel like there was a lot of them and they were like all trash. But it was about these kids like at recess. They're at like 3rd Street School. They're in like 4th grade, and they this one like 30-year-old is posing as like a kid because the principal hires him to figure out how these kids are like getting recess for like 2 hours a day, or it should be like 45 minutes. And he infiltrates the kid and like he gets them, like he finds out all their secrets, and that's how the episode ends. And then the kid's like, now we just have to find new ways to get more recess. I was like, oh, I don't know. What you said just reminded me about it.
Let me think. What did I do here? My Disney. So I remember Bear in the Big Blue House because my son was a huge fan of Bear in the Big Blue House. PB&J Otter. He was a big fan of PB&J Otter. There was a show called Stanley with the Great Big Book of Everything. And there was Roly Poly Oly.
I've heard of that.
He was a big fan of that. And then I think there was one, it was a mech show where it was a car that became a robot. Like they would drive the car and then the robot would
like Transformers?
No, it ended with X.
How old is your son?
He's 26 now.
Yeah, we didn't watch the same things. I feel like I've heard of Roly Poly Oly, or at least like on the TV guide, like I feel because was that on Disney Channel?
May not be Disney. It might be Nickelodeon.
Oh, I love Nickelodeon.
Some of these might have been Nickelodeon, by the way. Megas XLR. That's what it was. Megas XLR. There's this big fat guy who drives this car, and the car, when he calls for like a robot or something, like the robot shows up and his car just like he jumps off of ramps and shit, and just boom, the car just always lands right there.
That's pretty dope.
It was pretty fun.
Are any of these shows that he used to watch, are they still like on or popular, or like do they like hold up for like adults? Be like, oh, this is actually pretty good.
So of those, Roly Poly Oly was actually a pretty fun show. That like it was just the way that they did it was a really fun show. The one that for me, if you were a parent, you probably loved like Bear in the Big Blue House, because it was this giant lovable bear, and he had like an otter that was his best friend, and then he had like a rat who was one of his best friends, and they were all Bear was like a big guy in a suit, but everybody else was just a puppet. And there was like frickin' frack or high and low or whatever. They had like these two otters. They were ridiculous. They were absolutely ridiculous, but it was so much fun to watch those episodes because they were made for children. They made for babies. And they always told these heartwarming stories. And then I think at the end, he would it was Bear in the Big Blue House, and the show would open with "Welcome to the Blue House," and it was him just kind of dancing around and stuff like that. But then at the end, after whatever had happened, and it always told some kind of story, an uplifting story to keep people engaged. And at the end, Bear would go up into his attic, where he would rub one out. I mean, no, that's not, different bear. He would go into his attic, and he would go out on his landing, and he would talk to Luna, the moon.
Ooh.
And there was this lady. It was actually a famous black actress who had been like a voice actor. She had been like, I think, on Electric Company, or she had been on Sesame Street at one time. And she played Luna, and they would sing the goodbye song and stuff like that to wrap up the show. She passed away during filming of one of the seasons, and then they just canceled the show.
Oh, damn.
Rather than go on without her.
Damn. I feel like that's big of them. I feel like nowadays be like, well, money. We're just gonna write her out, and we're gonna.
The developers would not continue that. I mean, it really came down to, at that point, like, they just said, no more. We're not doing any more episodes. The show, by the way, was not a. Remember, the one thing to remember about Disney shows, like, there's no such thing as a great Disney show. Disney will make the show until they can reach a spot where they've got enough replays to fill up a channel, or fill up some time slots, and then they're just done with it. It doesn't matter how good the show is. If the show is fantastic, if the show is great, they're just going to run it in replays because they've made enough content. And then, what you have is, I think in acting and stuff like that, you're in for like 3 or 4 years maybe. But if you're doing a show almost every day, 5 days a week for, half a year or something like that, it's a lot of episodes. So you have a lot of different content, and the content is not time specific. It's education specific. So, you make a couple years worth of content, and then when it's time to pay people more money, you're like, fuck that. Mickey, don't do that. You know what I mean? You just move on.
I will push back on one thing that Disney doesn't make great shows. There's one called Gravity Falls, and it is so good.
Great show. Great show.
That is so. I'm so glad you know what that is. Oh my God, so great.
That was, for a while, that was both of my sons. Like, they loved Gravity Falls.
I'm pissed I didn't watch that when I was a kid, because I was already like an adult kind of, and it wasn't until this one guy named Nostalgia Critic on YouTube, like, somebody told him, like, hey, you're gonna love this. They give him the DVD and like review. You don't even have to review it, but I know you're gonna love it. And he didn't even review it. He just mentioned in like one of his episodes that's like, and yeah, it was great. It was awesome. So I was like, all right, I got to watch it. And
it was. Matter of fact, I think that one, I'm not going to say it's a direct precursor or anything like that, but I think that probably paved the way in some people's minds for like Rick and Morty and stuff like that came along a little bit later.
Yeah, they did actually have like one episode in Rick and Morty. They have, I think, the notebook, like the hand notebook, like come in one of their green. It's like their green time portal things.
Nice.
So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that was a callback to Gravity Falls in some way. Like Justin Roiland, when he wasn't, banging Strange while they were knocked out, he was probably watching Gravity Falls.
Yeah. The guys at Seabass B97 is a new show called Pluribus is great. I don't know what channel Bluey's on, but I've heard amazing things about Bluey.
Yeah, I hear it all the time. I don't have any kids like that anymore, so there's no reason that I'm going to even know what it is or pay attention to it. But yeah, I heard that kids are just fascinated by Bluey right now.
Yeah, I'm very curious about this stuff because there's some things that I feel like would go great on VeVe. But some of the stuff, like I know Booth says he used to love Roly Poly Oly. He might buy something on VeVe if we had that. But I feel like there's not a ton of things that was on like in recent history, the last like 10, 15 years that people would really buy now. But one of them was like alphabet lore. Have you heard of that?
Nah.
I don't even think it was on like network. I think it was on YouTube. It was all of these letters, they had like personalities, and I think F was like the mean one.
I bet he was. F you.
But yeah, speaking of the of lore, now in the future, historians will turn back on 2025 and look at this date, be like, the Senate has finally voted, and they're going to end this shutdown soon. Now tell us, what does that do for our crypto? Because Bitcoin be pumping. Was that like 105 before? I don't know what it is now.
first, I'm going to pat myself on the back and tell you that last Monday, the first thing that I said to everybody was, now that Democrats have taught Republicans a lesson in these last couple of elections about you have to listen to people. And you know, to Donald Trump's discredit, he doesn't really listen to people that he doesn't like at all. And, you know, that's important. If you want to continue to build coalitions, you have to, right? So Democrats have done that for a little while, and they've, despite the fact that I really don't think that they have great messaging, they needed these elections, and this was the perfect time for a government shutdown. And, you know, Donald Trump spends all day long trying to convince people that this is a Democrat shutdown. And they even, like, even in the MAGA, the MAGA employee handbook for you better say this or you can't be in the crew thing, you had to say, well, there's only 53 Republican senators and there's 47. So that doesn't mean 60. And they ignore Donald Trump, which is odd because Donald Trump is saying filibuster. Get rid of the filibuster, make it simple majority, problem solved. And they don't listen to Donald Trump in that regard. John Thune has been ignoring it the entire time, blocking out the noise. And what I said was, well, you know what? The elections are over. The Democrats have just shown their power. And now they're going to be interested in reopening the government. And the most likely play is Chuck Schumer is going to reach out to people. And, you know, John Fetterman.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. But if you were Republican, you thought he was just a walking zombie. Remember, it was not that long ago where he was unfit for office and we didn't want him in there. But, you know, I mean, everybody was basically saying this guy's retarded. Like he can't even put a sentence together and stuff like that. And, you know, now that he supports MAGA, it makes sense what was wrong with him. I didn't mean that, by the way, if you're MAGA. I didn't mean that. But
we're going to get canceled. No, I mean, it's.
But what he did was he came out and he said, you know, and by the way, he's the kind of person that, you know, you want him to give you that yes vote. You know, I'll put the yes vote in. And then I think what happened was Chuck Schumer went around and he found some Democrats and said, look, we're going to support you. We want to get the government open. Okay, so we need your votes. So he started going around finding out like who's not running for office, because there's 33 people that run every 2 years. And he was like, those 33 people who are running this year, they're not going to vote. But the people who just got elected, I need to find 6 votes out of those people who are willing to pass this. So I think after the election, they proved that Democrats still matter, because that's been a question, really. Could they put together messaging? Could they do something properly? And they did, and they got to this point, and now the government's about ready to reopen. So everybody who's going to vote yes now, including maybe some people that are going to shock and surprise you, by the way. But also, the other thing to remember is, because all of the guys who were going, 53 is not 50. That's not 50. You got to have more. You got to have more. There's 7 more people. You got to have them. Those people don't want the Republicans to negotiate. And the way that you get a compromise and the way that you get things done in the Senate is to negotiate. So John Thune went and negotiated. He did what dum-dums don't want to do. He negotiated, and he got enough. He gave enough so that Chuck Schumer could say, I got a small win here, right? You're not going to get the whole thing.
Yeah.
I had a small win here.
Happy.
Now give me those 7 people and let's get the government reopened. It's going to look really good. Now that that's happening, then we get back to the real meat and potatoes, which, by the way, when the government opens on Monday, by Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to see some crazy shit start to develop in cryptocurrency.
I can't wait for that. So there's that explanation makes sense. That explanation makes perfect sense, almost poetic, but I feel like there might be another way of looking at it, that the Democrats maybe could not have lost face before the election, because if they did, then it would have been seen as a loss, and they had to wait until after the election, regardless of what the outcome was. So do you think that the outcomes of these last elections, like Republicans got their ass kicked? New York, I think Mississippi and Virginia, they had the 3 Democrat governors now. Do you think that Democrats, even if they were to get something that they wanted, even if it, like the same deal would have happened, 2 weeks prior, do you think they would have voted on it, or did they?
No. It took exactly what I said. It took winning those, showing up in that election, showing out in that election, to see Zoran Mamdani and people like that winning their elections by landslides. And remember,
that's insane.
Donald Trump endorsed Andrew Cuomo. You know, Donald Trump went out here and endorsed Sliwa. He went out and endorsed all these people, and they rejected him entirely. And that's what people are not understanding. Like this was an indictment of not Donald Trump, by the way, but it's Donald Trump policies that have not been favorable in the eyes of people who are actually paying attention. If you don't like illegal immigration, nobody does. However, how you deal with it does have consequences. I have videos. I mean, I'm in Chicago. I got videos of ICE like putting like lights in people's windows, like going door to door. Like, it is crazy shit. It is literally, if you watch it, it is like Gestapo level stuff. And if you can frame that narrative the right way, the people who are already in the cult, whatever cult you're in, are not going to change their minds. But the people who are in the middle that are like, I don't like illegals, but we certainly shouldn't have stormtroopers going door to door, rousting people. This is America. And that's what they're seeing. So this was a perfect storm for Democrats to claw back what they've lost in their clout, if you will. So again, this is the perfect time to reopen everything. It was just the Trump administration, because they have all the power, forgot about the message and how they got the power. So, and they paid a price for that, and they're going to pay a big price in the next midterm. They're going to pay an enormous price for this. They're going to lose control of either the House or the Senate. Probably not the Senate, but definitely the House. Like, they have misplayed their hand to the point that, I mean, listen, Marjorie Taylor Greene has turned on MAGA. Let that sink in for a moment. Marjorie Taylor Greene was literally carrying Trump's balls to a podium day after day after day after day. And now she's like, no, I'm not. And she even said, I think she was on Bill Maher last week. She said, I talk to the president. I talk to him almost every day. I disagree with him almost every day as well, but I talk to him almost every day. We're friends. I do communicate with him and I support him. But a lot of the things that he's doing right now are just wrong. And when you have somebody inside who's doing that, you're finally starting to see an awakening. Not that everybody there wasn't like woke to begin with or had not woken up from the spell. And by the way, we should all at least agree the media is bad in every possible way. No matter what side you're on, you should be able to at least look and say the media is the enemy of the people, not the helper of the people. They're here for profit. They're here to get you to click. And Pink Panther said, MT Green is upset with money spending overseas. No, she's running for president, in case nobody understands what's going on. She's changing her image to be more moderate so that she can win a primary. She didn't give a shit about money being spent overseas, or at least, let me rephrase that. She does not like that. But she also doesn't like the fact that Donald Trump is actively covering up the Epstein list, which, by the way, they're probably not even a list. In all fairness, like I don't think that there's a like.
I'm sure there is, but depending on who's on I wouldn't even say that. I think you could maybe be on a flight and not, like, they did an episode about this and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You're like, yeah, so, you could go there, and if you wanted to diddle kids, you could do that. But if you wanted, it's just an island. You could do normal stuff. So, And
by the way, just because you're on a flight list doesn't mean that you went to an island. None of that. Because if you're dumb, like if you're like, you know what, I don't like it, and you do shit like that, then you're convinced that Bill Clinton flew on the Lolita Express 27 times because you're just dumb, But when you go back and you look at the flight log, because that is public, by the way, and you go look at the flight log, there were 2 flights. And it included a huge amount of celebrities and officials and stuff like that. Bill Clinton was on a flight that took 13 stops in both directions. So one world tour of, matter of fact, they were visiting like African nations. So they said, he was there 27 times. No, dum-dum, use your brain. Use the part of your brain that still works, if any of it does, and read what happened. He was on the flight one time. It just had 20-something stops because they were going from town to town for a month doing speaking engagements and shit like that.
There's, I think it was Thomas Massey said he has the votes for it. So when we're talking about things that Trump's done that is arguably probably at least net neutral and not net negative, like with ICE. So we've all seen the videos of like that 82-year-old getting like tackled and like speared by it. Yeah. And obviously Dems use that to make it go viral. But we've also seen those articles of like the super far left people trying to shoot at ICE and accidentally shooting the ICE detainees. And then that goes really viral on the right. Aside from the, and all that we can agree, I think is okay, that's way out there. And those are probably isolated events. I think in general, trying to get violent illegal immigrants out of here is a good thing. Yes. Obviously, the way they're going about it is not great, especially like you said, you have videos where it was like the Gestapo's going in, stormtrooper style. But so I think that it's generally good policy. It's just being executed poorly, and it's the same thing with the tariffs. Like that, generally good for the safety of America, but just holy crap, it has wrecked everyone's bags. Not the stock market. I mean crypto. And then, yeah, the Epstein file list, like they were supposed to go down to see what's in Fort Knox, and they didn't do it. And they were, Doge was that was really popular. But then as soon as we get to Fort Knox and suddenly it goes away, it's like, okay, that's unpopular. Not releasing the Epstein files is very unpopular. I think they can turn it around in the next 11 months, though, especially with the stimulus checks we'll get next year from the tariffs. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, you have to back up and you have to say, well, what did I say in the beginning? Or what did liberals say in the beginning? That Doge was just going to be some kind of grift, and that Elon Musk doesn't give a shit about anything. He just wants, and by the way, Elon Musk consistently posted lie after lie after lie after lie about what they were doing. But I mean, first of all, he said he was going to save $1 trillion, and we know that that's not true, but also that was a guess. That was not a promise to people.
He did save hundreds of billions.
That's exactly right. $200 billion is still a pretty big and significant amount of money in cost savings. And we should all at least be able to understand that the government is heavily bloated, heavily inefficient, and both of those things are ridiculous. So, we should at least have the understanding that, yeah, there are problems. And here's the even bigger problem. If you're a liberal, you know that already. You knew it when Donald Trump was in office. You knew the government was stealing from you in some way. You don't know where it's coming from, but you know that it's happening. When you're on the right and you see Obama, he's stealing from somebody somewhere. They're taking and they're taking and it's the government. The government are takers. We should at least know, and we should see this. But we're being forced by the media to argue about it. And we're being forced by social media to argue about it. As a matter of fact, if you have any questions, here's what I would challenge you to do. Go ask Grok. Go ask Grok, because Grok used to have certain responses. Grok used to use certain things. Grok behaved a certain way. Elon was very unhappy with Grok because it was being honest, I want to say, but I don't want. The other thing is, when I say honest, it's being honest based on what it data mines. So we should have the understanding that if I tell you that the media is bad and evil, and Grok is getting the information from the media and it's evil, Grok is giving you the wrong information. However, what we are is we're in this weird space. And I think I said this the last time I was on the show. I don't know if I did or not, but let me just put it out here for everybody. a lot of the things that Donald Trump tells you that you want to believe are articles of faith. You have a distrust of something that's happened. And when he says he's going to take care of it, you have faith that he's going to take care of it. Because again, this is an article of faith. It's not an article of fact. If I go to grab some water and I break down the water today, it's 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, H2O. If I go to China and I get water, it's 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen. If I go to India and I get water, it's 2 parts hydrogen, it's 1 part oxygen. If I go to Africa, it's 2 parts hydrogen, it's 1 part oxygen. But if I go to China, then I should be worshiping Buddha, which is not the same God I should be worshiping in the United States, which I shouldn't even be worshiping that God. I should be worshiping the God that's his God that was his. It's actually his kid, but his kid is also him, but he's also a ghost. So spooky ooky. Whoa. Also, I should be, if I'm in India, then I should still have the same water, but my God is an elephant. No matter where you go, the rules of faith change over and over and over again. But the rules of science and the rules of math, they don't change. They don't evolve. They are. So we're in a situation in which a faith-based group of people just do everything based on faith. They don't do it based on facts. I had an argument with somebody today. Michael, if you're out here, shout out to Michael Bono. I had an argument with Michael today because he said, Bleeves, I just want you to know I disagree with you. Because, you know, I say things like, I don't mind calling out Donald Trump. I don't mind telling you that I have twice voted for Donald Trump, but I also don't like him. I don't respect him as an individual, as a person. He's bankrupted every company he's ever touched, except his main company. He wasn't a billionaire until just recently that he made all of his money through crypto because he took a $431 million inheritance from his father. And in 25 years, turned it into a $431 million empire that was cash poor, but his name was worth $2 billion in his brain. So all of these different things. And by the way, when you have a lot of money, he's never going to be broke. He's never, you know what I mean? Like he's never going to be broke, but he's also been he would have been better off just buying Bitcoin. He would have been better off just investing in the stock market than letting himself be in charge of his own companies. Because all of his companies failed, but it was always somebody else's money. He's not a great businessman. He's a great entertainer and he's a great celebrity personality. Okay. And if people realize that and understand that, just be entertained by the guy. Just be entertained. You know what I mean?
He is very entertaining. He is very funny. The White House, whoever's in charge of that on TikTok, that account, probably Barron, is hysterical. And they have
probably
hilarious.
Caroline Leavitt. She seems to have that same sort of sense of humor. It may not be, but whoever the media secretary is probably that person.
Whoever it is, they need a raise.
Yeah, they're funny as shit.
As far as ICE goes, so there's multiple levels of this illegal immigration that started really under Bush because they wanted cheap labor. And I understand seeing kids get ripped away from their families is pretty horrible, but you don't have to be an illegal for that. You have a dad that drunk drives or a mom that abuses it. Like if they do something illegal, the cops are going to take them away and separate the families. So it's just, you know, which illegality are you doing? And again, like if there's Maria that has been working at the local BJ's making sandwiches for 20 years, let her stay. Not committing crimes, let her stay.
No, I disagree with that. I'll disagree with that. And I'm gonna
tell me why.
I'm going to say this. First of all, Sebastian, I think he's full of it. Okay. Because he says we have been invaded. It's okay for ICE to go after them. First of all, we have not been invaded. That's stupid. But it is okay.
How do we have to determine what invasion means? Because that's
exactly right. You have to determine what an invasion is. And an invasion would be a coordinated effort by a party to overtake something. And they are not trying to overtake. They're just trying to assimilate and fit in. So there is no invasion.
I feel like if you, sorry,
the other hand is it is okay for ICE to go after them. And by the way, I believe that ICE should go after every single person. So I'm not on the side of liberals who say, let's just give amnesty to everybody. Let's just, let them stay and stuff like that. I am not like that at all. Throw everybody out and let people be more deliberate with work visas. Fix the problem, but get everybody out, like clean slate it, just restart it. But it's not an invasion. It's just a bunch of people who are dying in other places or in abject poverty in other places. And we are the great white American hope. We are the bastion of freedom. We are where it gets good. We are America. So they're not invading. They just want to be part of it. So it's just silly. And by the way, it is an example of the entire grift of Donald Trump to say dumb shit like it's an invasion. A lot of people are saying it's invasion. They're all trying to take over. That's ridiculous.
So I think we can agree that the majority of people that are coming here, probably almost everyone, they're just coming for a better life. Granted, most people are probably doing that just to try to work at a menial labor job or a BJ's, wherever. And then there's some that want to come in and they just want to mooch, where they take classes on how to be able to get benefits, SNAP benefits and all that. And then there's some that are just like, let's go to these liberal cities where we can commit literally all the crimes we want. We'll spend probably a couple days in jail, a couple weeks in jail, and then they'll let us go. And then we can continue doing those crimes, making these money. And I feel like, again, those multiple people here coming in for separate reasons. But don't you think that the open borders under the Biden administration was a coordinated plan for that? Because as they do that, they all vote Democrat. And so even though the people necessarily weren't invading, they were just coming here for their own means, but they're all going to vote Democrat.
No, I feel like you've been watching too much right-wing media.
I don't really watch TV, but like,
let me tell you why I say that.
Okay.
They don't know shit about this stuff. They don't know who they're supposed to vote for. Whoever allows them to stay in America is who they're going to vote for.
Which is Dems.
They don't know. They're not in power. Who gives a shit? Like, and by the way, like Sebastian down here at the bottom, he says, Bleeves, some entered to take over. Not all of them, obviously. What kind of ridiculous logic is that?
I don't think they're taking over anything.
Here's the problem. We say shit like this, right? Or MAGA says shit like this. They're like, everybody is, not all of them, but there's a couple of bad ones. And we got to take care of everybody because of a couple of bad ones. But then when I say, yeah, there's a couple of bad people out there with a bunch of guns that are going to go shoot up a school tomorrow, you're like, whoa, that's a bridge too far now. You can't be, wait a minute. So everybody take a chill pill and shut the fuck up and stop using, because your arguments work against you just depending on the topic. Like, it's, to me, everybody should be out of the country that is not supposed to be here legally. And
this is why I get a little like confused about you say, like, I feel like on the one end you're saying like, hey, this invasion is complete right-wing propaganda, and okay, like fair point. But why can't like somebody say here that's been here for 20 years and hasn't committed a crime? I feel like those people should probably get a pass. Like, why can't somebody?
Why should they? Okay, so here, let me tell you this.
Okay.
Here's what's going to happen. If you give amnesty to everybody who's here today, let's just say that we're going after people with criminal records. We're going to get them the fuck out, but everybody else can stay. Okay. We're going to provide them with amnesty. We're going to allow them to stay in this country. Okay. You're good. You got DACA or whatever it is. You can now stay here. Okay. Now, if I'm from some other country, what am I going to do? Oh shit. You mean all I have to do is hide in the United States for 20 years and they're just going to give me a free pass? What the fuck? More people are going to come in. That's crazy.
I feel like if you word it like that, yes. But if you say like, hey, anyone that's been here,
it's me saying that's what's going to happen. If you give people amnesty, if you get here, let me put it this way. If you give people social services because they cannot otherwise survive, eventually they're going to manipulate the system And they're going to do shit like, oh shit, I'm about to have my 98th baby. Oh shit, and my grandma, she gonna take care of it. She
You
gonna
see
watch
that
that
happen all
baby.
the time.
And I'm gonna pay her to do that with my food stamps and shit like that. What we're doing is when we create these sort of things, we create a mess every single time. Stop creating messes. Simple. Sebastian says, but why enter illegally? What do you say of those who did it the right way? Well, if they did it the right way, then they get to stay. Like that. Again, this is
I think
about
he was talking to
people
Booth,
who enter illegally.
Yeah. But I feel like you could do it in a way where it's like, okay, it's a one-time thing. Anyone that's been here for 20 years and has not committed a crime, you're fine. But no, this is not going to happen again. If you enter illegally from this point on, or even in the last 10 years, like 15 years, like we get you out, but you have a pass of 20 years. And anyone that we catch doing it from now on, it doesn't matter if we don't catch you until 2055. But if you came here illegally and you were here for 30 years, you're still going out. I feel like if you word it that way, it's better.
But we did that, and it was called DACA. And here we still are.
That's true. Good point.
I mean,
good point.
There's no way. There's no way. You know what I mean? Like, there's absolutely no way that giving amnesty at this point is going to help the situation. Now, by the way, I am also of the agreement that what we're doing right now is screwing the economy. Because let's just say that there's 20 million people, or let's just say there's 30 million people. If they all leave, all the money they spend is gone too. We are not better off without those people. However, we have to get rid of those people in order to allow them back in the proper way. And by the way, if you're here illegally, that should not preclude you from coming back. That should not preclude you from coming back. That's the only compromise that I think would be fair.
So I understand that's a great long-term, even midterm, but in the short term, like I live in a fairly affluent area and I'm 99% sure that all the landscapers here, or at least most of them, are illegal. And the places
I used to live in, I used to stay with my uncle in California in SoCal. He didn't hire Americans. I was the only American that worked for him. You know what I mean? Like everybody was illegal. And, you know, I spent days laying water pipes and shit like that on these dry fucking desert grounds and shit like that. Nobody was here legally. Okay. That's the way that it works. And it's always worked that way.
Yeah. So like American jobs, the economy could stop. Like it could stop. Like there'll be nobody to make, and I feel like so bad saying it, but I feel like a lot of people in these that are doing new construction, residential, landscaping, people making our sandwiches, like there's gonna be a ghost town for a lot of these jobs. And where are we gonna? I think a lot of that money will stop flowing because a lot of the new.
Well, so here's the interesting part. Yes, however, ask AI. If you had to solve this problem, here's the problem. AI, 30 million people are here illegally. I want to kick them all out today. How do I do that without affecting the economy? What business services that we know of do I need to automate in a way that it causes the least impact on people? Let AI figure it out. Start to use them and say, you know, what is this? You know, how do we farm cheaper? How do we mine cheaper? How do we make food cheaper? How do we do all these kind of things cheaper? Like figure out ways, inexpensive ways to start making that happen. And I bet you will find that somebody like Elon Musk and his Optimus robots are probably a lot further along than you even think to begin with. Like I've seen some of the videos of these robots and what they're doing. And guess what? It turns out that you probably could do a lot of solving of those problems with automation. Now, that will cost jobs and it will cost Americans jobs, but better learn how to repair robots.
That's a good point. Learn how to repair them. Yeah. There was I forget what he said, or maybe somebody else said it, but going to Mars, there might only be 1 or 2 people that do it because those people require food and water and habitable system, but robots don't. And
Yeah.
You could program away, or just for like one person for every 10 robots, and then that's a way you can go and colonize Mars very cheaply and not have to have that many that many trips in order to support them, and they could be self-sustaining pretty easily.
Well, so Profit Monster has a for some reason the Dems are the only side promoting and supporting crime and pretending to care about the little guy. Who the fuck just pardoned everybody from January the 6th? And if you don't agree that invading and breaking and entering is not a crime, I don't know what planet you're from to begin with, because it's not Mars, because only smart people are on Mars. So you're being disingenuous about everything. Fentanyl is not a problem where I am. Fentanyl is a problem where Ohio, that votes predominantly Republican, is, or West Virginia, that votes predominantly Republican.
Well, it depends on the cities.
That's right.
Well.
It depends on the cities. It depends on the region. It depends on these areas out here. Oh, goddamn, that's where it's grown and manufactured. Oh, Columbus, Jesus Christ!
Don't be talking shit about my Ohio State girl.
But my point is, we all we aren't the only side promoting and supporting crime or anything like that. That's just a fake narrative that people like to use because they want things to be a certain way. And if that were true to the American people, Republicans would have swept this last election instead of getting dunked on a couple days ago, because it's not true. You're in a cult. Get out of the cult. Go read a book. I mean, stop getting your news sources from Facebook. I mean, I don't know what to tell you other than that. Like, stop drinking Kool-Aid. Stop drinking Kool-Aid. And by the way, there are law-abiding citizens everywhere that are Democrat, that are Republican. As a matter of fact, one of the things that got into my algorithm for some stupid reason was some British guy. He's a bodybuilder, little guy. But he's from England, and he's like, crikey, mate, all my friends told me don't go to Chicago because, oh my God, they're going to kill you. Oh my God. Because he's typically a right-wing guy. And guess what? Now he's like, Chicago's the greatest city I've ever been to. Like, this is unbelievable. I haven't seen crime yet. Where is the crime? Where are all the people who are shooting everybody and stuff like that? Because they haven't seen it, because it's not about it being in Chicago. It's about it being gang violence. Now, have they done a good job of handling gang violence? I don't think so. But also, I've been here for 20 years and haven't heard a gunshot. So
I feel like same thing in New York and Long Island. Like, I lived in Long Island for 20 something years. And if you stay in the good part, you don't hear a gunshot. If you go to Wyandanch, if you go to Hempstead, you will hear gunshots. So I feel like in Chicago, the South Side, or at least part of the South Side, maybe you steer clear of that, or at least where those, obviously, which spots to stay in and which spots to not.
Okay, let's go back to Dr. Profit Monster 190, because he's not getting it. Okay, but only one side promotes political violence and wants to remove your freedom of speech. That made me flip D to R. Can I ask you a question, Profit Monster? Do you know any president in history that got elected with a slogan that said something like, I don't know, lock her up?
I went to a MAGA rally once and they chanted lock her up.
Do you know anybody whose name is actually Drumpf, who renamed themselves Trump, who may have, I don't know, shared some shitty underwear and a hammer on X when a Democrat was attacked? Do you remember what happened to Paul Pelosi? And do you remember how these gutless pieces of shit pretended that it was some kind of sex thing, or that it was some kind of weird thing, as opposed to some unstable person that was doing it? Do you remember all those things while you're saying there's only one side promoting this kind of stuff? You're being ridiculous and disingenuous. And I watch independent news from many sources. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because if you did, then you would have stopped watching it a long time ago, because it's all bullshit. You wanted to think a certain way, you now think a certain way, and you're getting your opinions reinforced by the news sources that you like. And it's okay. It won't last forever, but it's also disingenuous and untrue. As a matter of fact, most of the violence that happens in this country that is politically motivated is from the right. Most of the violence that's in this country does come politically from the right. Does that mean that it's the only place that it happens? No, of course not. There was a Democrat that shot in 2017, shot some guy on a playing softball.
I remember that.
Playing softball. There were plenty of different violent episodes. Not January 6th, because that doesn't count, because Joe Biden's CIA. By the way, Joe Biden didn't take office until January 21st of 2021. On January 6th of 2021, do you know who ran the FBI? Whoever the fuck Donald Trump said run the FBI. So, and did you, until just right now, believe that it was the Joe Biden FBI, as Donald Trump said? If it is, hey, by the way, you're in a cult. So shut the fuck up and sit this one out. See, these people don't understand what's really happening. They only understand their information bubble, where they're getting their information from. And it's not true. Constantly and consistently, it's not true. Are prices down? No, they're not. Gas prices, we're starting to see a little bit of relief in, and we'll start to see more relief as the time goes by. But remember, the one thing, and here's the other part, liberals, because they're pieces of shit too, by the way, they started saying, well, egg prices are $5, man. Well, they're $1.99 right now. So those prices came down. But guess what? Still $6 for cereal. It's still
$6 for cereal?
Yeah,
I think this is largely dependent on area too.
Here we go. So, Sebastian says the FBI was still controlled by Dems on J6. Do you have any idea how ridiculous that sounds to anybody that went to college? Do you have any idea how nonsensical that is? Most people who agree, by the way, most people who agree with the law, and most people who live under the premise that the law is very, very important, are also Republicans. So when you say that it's run by Democrats, that's just stupid. Now, is it people who wrongly thought that Donald Trump was a piece of shit? No, because Donald Trump is a piece of shit. But they mishandled the way that they were doing it. And by the way, the Mueller report, all of them, to a man, that all of the people that were interviewed, and by the way, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to challenge you to go look it up, because I know that you won't, number one, and number two, that even when you read it, you won't believe it because you're in a cult. But guess what? The Mueller report says very specifically the reason that they didn't collude with Russia was not because they didn't try, it was because they were too stupid. Let me say that one more time. It's not because they didn't collude with the Russians. It was not because they didn't try. It was because they were too stupid. Now, you're taking your information, you're getting your information from the people who were, let me say it one more time, too stupid to collude with somebody to quote unquote steal an election or affect the outcome of an election or do anything like that. Too stupid. And by the way, it's public record. You can go read it. So did they collude? No. Did they try? Yeah. Were they too fucking dumb to accomplish anything with it? Yeah, 100%. So if you're hanging your hat on, they didn't collude because, they were just good people. No, they weren't. They were pieces of shit, just like everybody thought they were. They were just too dumb to do it. It's simple. So why do I not watch the news? Why do I not do all this kind of shit? Because I don't want to get sucked into those stupidity bubbles.
Fair points. There is a saying Trump never ran on these slogans, Dems run for office, ran Trump. So going back to January 6th, obviously there were police that were attacked, there were attacks all over the place, and those people should not have gotten pardons. However, when the Capitol Police decided to open up the Capitol, from the footage I've seen, have I seen all of it? No, but a lot of people were just kind of walking in. I feel like a lot of the attacks happened outside. And again, there were police officers that were attacked. There were others that were attacked that weren't police officers, but a lot of people that were in there that day were kind of just taking photos. Like there were old people. Were there rambunctious people that were in there that were just being retarded? Yes, but and a lot of the people that were there, I feel like were wrongly arrested and were wrongly tried and were wrongly being and then calling Trump Nazi and everyone Nazi. Like, I think that's why Democrats lost. And I feel like nobody's called Trump a Nazi in a while. I think because they recognize, oh, if you keep calling people a Nazi, it kind of really makes the word not mean anything anymore.
Well, here, I mean, like it's pretty. It really is.
All right, I am adding to stage.
There's your peaceful people on the inside being peaceful.
Yeah, these guys should be charged with something. Oh shit.
Yeah. Maybe I put this on mute.
Yeah, I was saying I can't.
Yeah, I put that on mute. But there's your innocent people.
Those people should be charged with something, destruction of property at least.
Here's the Metropolitan Police right here trying to hold people back. And those people with the things on over there, those are police, and they're trying to stop people. And they're busting through windows here, and they didn't get through the windows because they opened the windows to let them in. By the way, it should be noted that if you are, quote unquote, being invaded, you should retaliate and you should fight back. In this instance right here, these are American citizens that are unhappy because they have a cult leader who's telling them that their cult had something stolen from them. So was it an insurrection? I think is the fairest question. And I don't think that they were. It wasn't an insurrection. We just talked about how stupid those people are. Of course, they're not trying to do an insurrection. They're just trying to stop the certification of an election because they're sore losers, and the sorest loser of all lost because he's a loser. And that's okay, because guess what? There's always losers in every election. Some of them are just grown men, and some of them are just petulant children when it comes down to it. So, and by the way, I'm still watching the videos, and there are most people walking through. Okay, there are most people walking through, and nonviolent. By the way, you are right in that they are nonviolent for the most part. They're just unhappy that their loser in chief was a loser. They're unhappy with that. But I mean, again, if you just, here we go, one more time. They're not opening the door. This guy banging, these people throwing shit. They're not peacefully opening doors. They are smashing through. This is them smashing through the police right now. This is them throwing shit at the police right now. This is the police trying to hold the door, and they're using riot shields to try to hold the door. Yeah, so, when people say those kind of things, they're being disingenuous about everything that was happening because they didn't bother to watch the tape, or they were told by Donald Trump, yeah, just say that it was Joe Biden. And they're like, yeah, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, those guys clearly.
Oh, you're muted, by the way.
Am I?
I can't hear you. Maybe I turned my mute. Maybe I turned my sound off.
Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, there we go. It was me. I have my sound off.
Okay. I don't see it. Okay, we're good. Yeah, clearly those guys should be the ones that were at the forefront should be charged with something. I don't know what crimes or which specific ones it should be. Destruction of property, disturbance of the
everybody
peace,
who was in there should have been charged with trespassing, and it should have been kind of over with. Anybody who was violent should have been charged with a violent act, and it should have been over with. But also, everybody who did some stupid shit during these Black Lives Matters protests, same thing should have happened.
100%.
So, I'm not saying that it's okay for either one of those people or either one of those groups, I understand why in each one of these instances, but who gives a shit? Like everybody should have been held accountable, and they should not have gotten a free pass, and nobody should have ordered somebody to stand down at any point on either of them. My opinion.
Agreed. We have Pink Panthers saying Republicans and Democrats could care less about any of us. So let's get to the DEVVE token.
Okay.
We've had a good couple of days here. I think part of that was because of DevStream allocating to $3.5 million between now and 2027.
Yeah,
to buying it.
1 million for this year, 1.27 million for next year, and 1.27 million for the year after that.
Yeah, and we are up 8% on the day to 41 cents. We were up to 40 cents the other day. We went back down to 30 something. We're back up to 41 cents. Now, that might be, I mean, there'll be other smaller announcements as the Q4 goes on. And then supposedly towards the end of Q4, we'll get that exchange partner, whoever it might be, as long as there's a joint marketing campaign. It seems like there will be. It should shine a big spotlight on us. So between now and then, anything could happen. We can go back down to 25 cents. We can go back up to $1 or higher. But once that announcement comes out, I feel like we go crazy.
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't changed my pick here. I think I said that at $10, I'm going to sell about 5,000 tokens, pay myself for the work that I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it gets to $50, I'm going to exit everything except I'm going to leave 5,000 in, because I do think that most likely over a course of time, and by the way, anything can happen, but over a course of time, I think that DEVVE has the potential to be something that's worth $1,000 per coin. It'll be a coin at that point too.
Yeah.
So, I'm incredibly bullish. I'm not making content anymore, but I'm not going to change that I'm bullish on it at all.
So should we go into the reasons behind the lack of content? Because there was a little bit confusion in Telegram the other day. I made 2 videos since then, one of which talking about where I think we both agree, or everyone can agree, that the money that is being spent to buy these tokens are not from the open market, that it is an OTC deal.
Yeah.
And there are some people that are upset that it's not from the open market because it's not going to pump our bags, which, okay, fair point. We're not going to get that 20, 40, 80% jump. Right. But if they were to do it that way, the company wouldn't get anything. They'd have some of their tokens that they own that would be worth more, and cool, they could sell that if they needed. But doing it this way, via OTC deal, they're able to go on. It's not letting me add this to the stage. I don't know why. But doing it this way, yes, we don't get any of the pump from buying from the open market, but they get to raise $1 million, and they can use that, allocate those funds wherever they want, wherever they think it's most needed. And because a lot of us are operating on conjecture and we don't really know where the best use of those funds are going to go, and they could do the best thing for the most number of people, which is the health of the company.
Yeah. So it's really basically overall a bullish announcement, but I want to preface that and say that, as most of you know, like I don't deal in. Look, I'm not here to tell you that everything is the most perfect thing that's ever been or anything like that. I think ultimately DEVVE is the Learjet of this coming altcoin run. We don't know that now because we haven't seen the announcements that are coming. We haven't seen the full breadth of what they're doing. We don't have the full disclosures right now. We don't even have the licensing done. So there are pieces that are still yet to fit into the puzzle. But when they do, I think that this becomes the most sought after asset in crypto for an extended period of time. And because, by the way, this not only solves a huge problem for a company like NASDAQ or a company that's associated with NASDAQ, DTCC or BTCC, whatever they're called, DTCC. it solves that problem, but it's also, most importantly, this is tech software that's patented that changes the fundamental paradigm of the way people are trading, and everybody needs this, especially because it bridges that TradFi into Web3, and it suddenly makes it instantaneous settlement. It suddenly provides you with security and fraud protection that you did not have otherwise. So that means Coinbase is going to come looking for it. Kraken is going to come looking for it. Binance is going to come looking for it. And if they can't do it, then they're going to try to create their own version of it. And if they fall out of line with patents, there's going to be lawsuits. Dev's going to make a ton of money off of it. Like, they've cornered a market that we haven't even seen yet, and we don't even know about yet. Or at least, in my opinion, they have at this point. So how we see it play out, of course, is on this team to make it happen. I don't know how well they'll do, but I mean, I really think that at this point, like, you are on a rocket ride at this point for the DEVVE token. It's just, again, it's just a matter of the time right now. And to give you guys an update on exactly what happened, if you guys want to go watch my video, I did a video. It was my final DEVVE video. And it was basically this. In February, and by the way, for those of you that don't know, they were paying me $2,000 a month in DEVVE tokens to talk about DEVVE. I was basically the only person that was doing it. And February comes along, and then I don't get paid. And nobody reached out to me and said, hey, thank you, or hey, fuck you, or hey, we like you, but we don't like you that much, or hey, we want to renegotiate, or it's just the end, whatever. Any of that would have been fine. Any of that would have been, I've been cool with, right? I don't have a problem. Look, when you partner with somebody, I partner, by the way, this guy over here got me a partnership with DEFFINITY for a month, okay? So I talked about DEFFINITY for a month. I haven't talked to DEFFINITY. I haven't talked to DEFFINITY or anybody from DEFFINITY since then, and that's okay. If they don't want to be partnered with me, it's fine. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
but with DEVVE, I had communication with them all the time. And then all of a sudden, February, nobody wants to talk to me anymore. I sent messages. Nobody replied, stuff like that. Eventually, I was just like, well, fuck them. I still like the project. I still trust in the project. Still going to hold a big bag of it. But, otherwise, they don't want me on, they don't want me associated with it. That's, whatever. I would have liked to have been told. So that flashes forward to a couple of days ago. I said, because I decided, you know what, no matter what, I want information. So I'm asking about information. So I asked in the chat if it was going to be an OTC buy or if they were going to buy on the chart. And they told us in very roundabout ways, it was Nairobi. They were in roundabout ways saying it was OTC, that was going to be an OTC deal from the Forever Association. Now, the reason that I asked about that is because 150 million tokens are in circulating supply out of a total of 300 million. If they're buying $1 million worth, and I want to step back and say $1 million worth of tokens at 40 cents right now is a lot of goddamn tokens. Okay. $1 million worth of tokens at 40 cents is a couple million tokens. That's not adding to the liquidity pool at all. And that was my question. If it's OTC, fine, but I just wanted to know where it was coming from, because at the end of it, guess what? Whatever goes from that OTC desk, the Forever Association, eventually ends up as a circulating portion of the supply. The idea was that 150 million was going to be kept by the Forever Association in case something like this would happen. So understood where it was coming from, understood all that. So then I said, and by the way, what I said was they probably need $1 million in order to finish all of the development and everything that they've been doing. At this point, because I have ADD, for anybody who doesn't know, I have ADD and I sometimes just lose my shit. I read the announcement from DevStream. In the DevStream announcement, guess what it says? We're doing this because we have the capital in order to finish what we're doing. So, continue building. This is a capital infusion for DEVVE. So I said, and I asked the question, didn't even know it was in the press release. Instead of saying it's in the press release, instead of that, I get a message from a guy by the name of Phil. Now, for those of you that don't know, Phil is responsible for something there. I don't know what it is. Apparently telling me to kiss my ass or kiss his ass or whatever. But I had reached out to him one time before because they had done a, where did you find out about DEVVE? And a ton of people were like, Bleeves Crypto. And I was like, see, people found out about you because of me. And then, and I said that, and he was like, well, we don't want to partner with you. You're too controversial for us or for him, or I don't know. I have no, Tom doesn't make those decisions. Phil, I think, makes those decisions. Okay. Now, I don't know that at the time or any of that, by the way. So Phil then starts to basically dress me down and tell me, and I will quote here, seen your message in the group, wouldn't normally respond as mods can handle this, but this is a really positive announcement and you're just creating negativity. You know, bitch, it turns out I'm reading from the script that you guys put out and I'm creating negativity. Who the fuck is this guy? So then he says, when Solana or Bitcoin or ETH get added to an institution's balance sheet, it's big news. And it is here as well. We have a lot coming out. There are a lot of partnerships, and it's time to stop the negative and presumptuous comments. Again, at that point, I still didn't even know that I was quoting what they had just put out in a public release. So this asshole is telling me that I need to shut the fuck up and stop reading their script. Now, again, I didn't know that at the time. So I said, I didn't ask. And then he says, oh, and then you ask for tokens to do giveaway. So then I said, okay, time out, bitch. I didn't ask you for any tokens. I asked about doing giveaways. Not only did I ask about doing giveaways, I did the giveaways with Elliot. Elliot didn't give me the tokens. I gave Elliot the addresses for the giveaway so that I was not involved in it. So don't start putting this shit on me because I can already see how this one's going to go. And I said, and I'm not pressed down on price. My only question was related to circulating supply so that I knew what it was. And he says, that's not the comment I was referring to. They must need the money. It's just negative on a very positive announcement. Again, I didn't even know that it was in the announcement. And apparently this motherfucker didn't either. Apparently he doesn't read the announcements either. So then I said, I'll say it to you once more. You saw the question about how people found out about DEVVE, and it wasn't largely from the chat. It was from me. I'm also holding 2 large bags, and I'm not fudding my own bags. I have to provide people with information because they trusted me enough to invest. And then he says, Bleeves, you think most of our holders came from your videos? This motherfucker, this must be his first day at work, okay? Because this is some childish bullshit that's happening right now, and I'm engaged in it. So I'm here on it right now. And this, I don't know who he is. He's not on the, by the way, Phil, whoever this fucking guy is not on their website unless his name is not really Phil, which could be the case. Then he says, anyway, I'm not here to debate anything. Moving forward, I don't want negativity in the chat. There is a big push coming and it needs to stop. And I said, no, I don't think they came from my videos, but I also read the comments there and I know that I'm not at a net zero on people who pay attention because of me. But you're right, Phil. I'll keep my comments and my questions public and not in chat. I don't want sensitive people getting overly sensitive. And then he got mad at me. It's got nothing to do with being sensitive, Bleeves, at all. And then I said, and by the way, I requested giveaways. I never asked for tokens or anything. I gave Elliot the wallet so that I was not involved. I have much better things to do than argue with people who I don't really know. This is a large space full of projects who don't mind questions or statements that they don't agree with. So then Phil says to me, and I quote, then please go and join those projects and stop acting like a child. Stating that the team must have needed the money is not asking questions. No, it's not. It's reciting the goddamn press release, it turns out, Phil. By the way, Phil, if you see this, I got you something. It's not constructive criticism. It's just bullshit, Bleeves, and you know this. So then I replied with, matter of fact, so you guys can see it, because I don't want people to think like, oh, Bleeves just making some shit up here. There you go.
Ending stage. Oh shit. Yeah. Oh shit. We are. Nope. There. I don't know how that worked. I said,
you're right, Phil. I'm wrong, Phil. thanks, Phil. And that was it. I was done with this fucking clown. Like I was just fed up with this fucking guy. Then I went to Tom, and I'm not going to show you what I talked to Tom about. I said, Tom, look, I want to apologize to you because I am in here arguing with this fucking guy, Phil. And look, I value you. I'll tell you what I put him. Tom, I want to say I appreciate you and everything that you do and have done. I just got chastised a bit for one of my comments, which was about the $1 million probably being needed to fund development, and the team felt I was out of line, and Phil reached out personally to me. So I'm going to apologize to you and everyone else because I valued our relationship. I keep getting told I'm the only person on YouTube talking about dev, and I'm going to refrain from making any further comments. I'm not trying to offend you or anybody else. And he said, thank you. And then we had a bit more of a conversation. And then he said, I don't see your comments in chat. And I said, you don't see them because I went back and I deleted them. I'll tell you what happened. Nairobi gave me she gave me the answer. She explained everything, but Phil was coming at me. And at that point I was like, oh, and by the way, it's in the goddamn sheet. I wasn't reciting anything other than what was in the public release. So then he said, I'll leave the messaging to Phil and the team. It's part of the digital asset treasury, which is a long-term concept. He gave me a whole big thing about it. And I was like, man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Again, not partnered with him, but I am going to tell, look, what I do, I get paid for. If I don't get paid for it, I don't really do it. I have faith in a lot of projects that I talk about. So I don't have a problem like talking about dev because ultimately it's going to pay me, or at least I think it's going to pay me, that it's going to explode and, we have some serious price appreciation, stuff like that. But ultimately, otherwise, I talk about what I want to talk about. But when I've got some asshole over here that's just absolutely being obnoxious to me over something that was in their statement, fuck that. I got better things to do. You know what I mean? BitTensor is paying me good money to make BitTensor videos. It's ridiculous, actually. So I don't have to take the drama from some clown with a fucking frog profile pic. You know what I mean? Like I got better shit to do than deal with that. In the meantime, if I have any question or concern or anything like that, then I can just ask Tom. I have a good relationship with Tom. I don't ask him for money. I don't ask him for partnerships. That ship has already sailed. But also the fact that that ship has already sailed means that I got time on my hands that I don't have to devote to talking about dev anymore or figuring out what's going on to dev. So I made the decision. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. If you want to know anything about it, ask this guy over here. He'll be doing the dev content going forward. I just am not going to be part of it. And again, when it goes to $10, I'll sell a certain amount. When it goes to $50, I'll sell a certain amount. When it goes to $1,000, I'll sell a certain amount. Other than that, I'm done.
I understand. That is very frustrating. And like you said, other companies willing to pay for stuff and at least not give you a hard time like some of these mods were. Understand.
Right. And I understand what he's doing. He was protected. He felt like he was protecting his chat. And I appreciate the fact that he's trying to protect his chat. I understand why he felt the way that he felt. But number one, he clearly didn't read the statement that they made, because he's dressing me down for repeating what was in their press release, the public press release. He's chastising me for what's in the public press release. Let me say that one more time. That's unfucking believable. Okay. So this guy who's protecting them doesn't even know what the fuck he's protecting. And number two, he doesn't like me. He does not like me. That's about the best thing that I can say about it. He probably doesn't appreciate the fact that I shill meme coins. He probably doesn't appreciate the fact that, sometimes I promote a rug pull, they're going to happen. So I'm sure that because I've had people at one point or another, may have even been Phil, by the way, who got mad at me in a chat one time because they're like, Pepe meme never launched or something like that. There's some fucking something out there for him to be mad at me about. He chose to be mad at me about. So he doesn't like me. It's fine.
I also have promoted once a meme coin, but it's a legit business now called daCat. Speaking of other things, we have to, something I wanted your TA expertise on. I know I've talked to you about VeVe before, Have you taken a look at the OMI token, or if anything, could you go on the chart now and do some TA?
All right. So you ready for it?
Ready for it.
All right.
And
Okay.
here we go.
So if I were a betting man,
Hmm.
I would say that this is the chart that you buy.
And we're
okay?
going just based on the charts. No news, no info,
Right.
just based on the chart. TA.
If this is the chart right now, this is the spot to accumulate, because what you've seen is you've seen a massive run up. You know that it's got a value up here in excess. I think it was about 2 billion was the high market cap over here. It's at 40 million right now, but it's a supported project that's struggling in a market that is struggling. Now, why is it struggling? The answer to that, very simple. Circulating supply used to be 166 billion tokens. It's now 290 billion tokens out of a total possible supply of 750 billion, but only 350 billion are currently showing. So they have
305, I think.
Yeah, they have a mint capacity or something like that of up to 750 billion. I'm not exactly sure of those numbers, but I am sure that Grok knows it's 305 billion OMI. Yeah, right here. Yeah. With a max supply cap of 750, though much is locked in reserve for VeVe operations and burns. So what you have is you had a conglomeration of two different things that were happening. Number one, you only had 166 billion in circulating supply at the time, and you went to a 2 billion market cap. Now you have 281 billion in supply, almost double, 69% increase, and you got a 41 million market cap, which is why it's down 98% from that previous all-time high. Now that that's out of the way, that means that your price action is going to be on a curve, meaning that in the event that it were to go back to 2 billion in market cap, then you would have to draw down for the number of supply, which means that the maximum that you're going to get is going to be right about there at 0.002 at 2 billion, because you have 70% more tokens. So in order for it to get back to a range, oh, by the way, it's not right. It should be 40. In order to get to this range right here, it's going to draw down to about 40. So 0.004, which, by the way, is about 40x from where we currently are based on those supplies. So, and that's at 41 million market cap. You take, I mean, what is it, 47x or something like that? Whatever that number is, it's somewhere around 40. So if it goes up to a billion market cap or 2 billion market cap again, then it's probably going to end up like right there, which, by the way, if you were to look at it, you'd see support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. Like this is the perfect spot right there, saying that that's going to be kind of the range that you could go to in this next run. The only thing that I would say that's working against VeVe as it sits right now is, and by the way, I did go back and I did check the circulating supply through multiple sources. I went to CoinGecko, I went to Yahoo Finance, I went to CoinMarketCap to make sure that I had all the data right before I did anything with it. So then the question becomes, and we don't need this right now because now we're back to it. Ultimately, I would say that this is a very bullish accumulation opportunity for anybody who's looking to do it. I'll give you the problems. The problems right now is that people aren't playing Pokemon online when they should be using a Web3 space. And this is the perfect project for something like a Pokemon card game. People are not really doing a lot with comic books on online because it's still not, we're still not there yet. Comic books are designed for a certain way. And even though we have iPads and stuff like that, it's not designed for this. It's not designed for your phone. When comic books change the way that they're designed to make it easy for you to read a comic book on your phone, then I think things are going to take off quite a bit. But again, the model is just a little bit off. So what you're doing right now is you're taking it as an NFT collectible. So there's what do you call it at this point? Oh, and by the way, if you do it on your computer is 1920 by 1080. So the comic book doesn't fit there either. You got to turn it sideways. So there's still obstacles, or a few obstacles to what's going to happen. You know what I mean? OMI's crash was correlated with the broader NFT crash. That's I'm not saying that that's not the case. I'm saying that the crash part, and by the way, the crash part I don't care about. That crash part is because of broader market conditions. That's okay. It's the clawing back of capital that you can get from having a nice little run. The reason doesn't really matter unless it just fails. If something fails, it's not going to go. This doesn't look like a failure. It just looks like it lost a bunch of market cap because it was based on the NFTs. NFTs will come back in vogue. NFTs went out of vogue because they were nothing more than profile pics. Okay. So OMI crashed along with NFTs, not because of that, but because the broader market did that. That's kind of how these things play out. Everybody who's in RWA, when RWA dumps, all of them are going to dump. Anything that's in AI, when AI dumps, all of them are going to dump. So when NFTs dump, and they dump pretty bad because you have the Bored Ape Yacht Club, you have the Mutant Apes, you have all these different things. They don't do anything. Okay. So the things that really do something, like the NFTs from OMI, they crash too. That just means it's a buying opportunity for everybody. When everything comes back around, and by the way, I do want to say right now, because the global M2 money supply is pumping, comic books are huge right now. I got a Amazing Spider-Man 300 right now, and I think it's worth like $3,000. Like, it's the first appearance of Venom. I got the first appearance of Venom. I got the first appearance of Carnage. I got the first appearance of a lot of different. I got first Gambit. I have a bunch of different, like, really, really good comic books. But again, how you convert it into something over here, and to me, I'll tell you where I think OMI might be missing. Okay. Back in 1989, something like that, there was a thing that came out called, I want to say it was called Upper Deck. It was Upper Deck baseball cards that came out, and they revolutionized the way the way baseball cards were done. And then of course they moved into different sports and stuff like that. That's what we should be looking at, trying to license some baseball cards, trying to find ways to license some football cards, some college football cards, monetize college football cards, and then use your money for advertising and turn people into collectors again and show them how, and make it easy. Design it for this right here. Don't design it to impress people. Design it for this right here. I can pop in here. I can go into my bag, my Topps bag, or my OMI bag, and I can flip through easily my cards, and I can look at my cards. I can flip them over by finger flipping and something like that. I can flip them over. I can look at the stats. I can look at whatever I need to do. You can have special cards. You can continue to do it. You can put signatures, digital signatures on it, all kinds of different stuff. Like, I think that what they should be doing is focusing on all these different little spaces. I don't know who's doing it right now, if anybody, but those are the kind of things that I think would make a huge difference long-term for a project like OMI. People love sports. By the way, if you could wager, because remember, gambling is a big thing too. Let's say you have a baseball card, you get a Major League Baseball card, and I don't know who the big player is right now, but let's just say Shohei Ohtani, right?
Yeah, Ohtani.
So let's just say that you got a Shohei Ohtani baseball card, and you're looking at your OMI card, and he's playing that night, having something on there at the bottom, not the card, but something there on the bottom that says, do you want to bet $20 that he hits a home run tonight? Boom. I should be in charge of building this shit, by the way.
So as far as sports go, there's a Dapper Labs, which has UFC Strike, NFL All Day, NBA Top Shots. That's like the big one. Then there's Panini, and I don't know how they do this, because Panini has like unlicensed cards. So I don't know how that's going to do long term. I don't think it'll do well. But then there's Candy that has MLB, and Candy, they've gotten fucked so many times. Originally, DC started out on Palm NFT. Palm failed, and DC took it over. Like, all right, we're now DC NFT, and here's where all our comics are going. And then they sold it because they determined it wasn't worth it, and they went to Candy, and then Candy got acquired by Futureverse, and Futureverse failed. So now Candy's like ripe for someone's either going to pick them up, or someone's going to negotiate with the licenses that they have, and they're just going to back up the truck and come there. But Candy has MLB, and I actually have a guy coming on tomorrow at 11 a.m. that he's the biggest Ohtani holder of those MLB cards. And because now, like right now, because Futureverse dropped because they went out of business, a lot of the people, and none of these are interoperable. They're like, what is going to happen to our assets? Like, so everyone's just like selling them just to get rid of them. And this guy just came in and fucking scored. Like, he's getting stuff like pennies on the dollar. These Otani guys, and some of them are like one of one, some of them are like these. So he's just stacking ones, even if they're like one of 3,000. It's like there's only one first appearance 3,000, and he just went crazy with them. So he's going to come on tomorrow. For VeVe, the app that has the OMI token, a lot of feedback I've gotten from bigger YouTubers, and like the app needs to be fun, and it was so much fun when everyone was making money, and it's not now because everyone's losing money. But that'll obviously change when the narrative hits as Clarity Act gets passed. I'd give it 3 to 6 months, maybe even before then. But there's really nothing else to do on the app outside of buying, selling, and then building your showroom. Like, you have a showroom there, and it's really cool. Sometimes the showroom crashes, but they have the whole metaverse now. Then you could put your collectibles on there, some interact with each other. It's dope. But I feel like they have an average of like 750 users per day, which is fine. But they would have more if they were to have a game. And I'm not talking about a crazy big game, but just something that says like, hey, do you want to use your assets in a game? And then if you have the asset, it unlocks a skin and you get to use that in the game. And that would be, there are so many other communities out there that have these like games, and they're all kind of like the same. There's like King of the Hill. There's ones like even DEVVE has like a bunch of those games to earn heptiles and all that for Litcraft and experience. It wouldn't take, I think, that much effort, and it might cost, tens of thousands. It might cost 5 figures to hire someone to build that game. But that's what I think they need for fun. Like, obviously the narrative will come back, but until then, like, you had Recur that Gary V bought part of, Winklevoss twins bought part of, and they did 2 funding rounds. One, they raised $5 million. I forget at what valuation, and then they raised $55 million at a $350 million valuation. But they marketed during the bear market, and they, every other platform's kind of dead or dying. Yeah. So spending now might be a little rough. What you got up here?
So this is Baseball 9. It's just an Android game that you can play on your phone. Imagine having an integration with OMI, okay, or any baseball, whoever's got baseball cards, and you can integrate your baseball cards with this game so that when you're playing, you can go over here, and if you just want to, quick result, play the game just to see whether you win or lose, you can do that. But you can
26 to 2. Sorry.
Yeah, my team is. I'm playing on a low league because it's easy right now to grind. This is not a competitive game, by the way. So like, there are some games that I win like 100 to 1.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm in the Legend League, and there's like, it goes all the way up. I just won one of the big leagues the other day. So and I just do this. I just do this for fun every once in a while, right? Yeah. But again, what I'm doing is, and just consider this is NFT based, right? This is not, but just consider if it was NFT based. All of my players here, I can customize gear, and I can customize with each one of these could be an NFT, a batting stance, faces, what kind of eye black you put on, what your body is. Are you skinny? Are you fat? Are you, whatever, your height, and then the motion, how you swing, stuff like that. Like, you can click on that. You can see this guy standing there all weird. You can see him standing here and changing his batting stance every single time. Like, you have so many different ways that you can customize, each one of those being a different sort of NFT or something like that. And then you want them to be visualized. By the way, look at my names down here. Bleeves. Who's next? Dragon Rider. That's my friend Vince. I made him real fat too. Jay Canseco. Look, I even have he looks like Jose Canseco in the face.
Yeah.
I got M. McGuire, Javi Baez, Ozzie Smith, Anthony Rizzo, Chris
got a bunch
Bryant,
of Cardinals there,
and Dale Murphy.
Why is Ozzie Smith white?
Because I've never. Here we go. Also, you can change, for example, like this is my team in purple, but or in orange. You can hire coaches. You have different emblems. So let's just say I wanted to be a green team here. Let's just do this one right now. Now we're going to be the crocodiles. Team is called the Believers, by the way. But then I can take the team and I can take a uniform, and now I can just choose a green uniform that I own. That looks like the A's or something like that, or just find any green one that I own, and then boom, there we go. So now we got a green team instead to go along with my logo and stuff like that. All of this kind of stuff could be monetized in NFTs and stuff like that. And if they would just take a moment to do that, then they would be winning big time. Also, Marvel, I play Marvel Strike Force on my phone, and it's the same thing. Like you could make NFTs for all of these things and just see how they go.
Yeah.
I got to step away for just a second.
Yeah, sure. I will get to some of the news that we haven't gone over, everyone. All right. It's been, I think I only did 90. Oh, no, I did like 2 hours yesterday, but yesterday we had a guest on. So let's continue on with U.S. inflation index is dropping again. It is down 0.04% to 2.26%. There's a picture of me at a house party stripping in, this was 2017. I was a lean lad back then. Asian Dan goes on and says, I think people are too obsessed with the idea of burning OMI and not thinking enough about providing value. If someone stakes 10 million OMI, they should be getting tangible benefits. I just don't see that right now. Why? Yeah, VeVe Meister saying because all those goodies and more will not be implemented on the current infrastructure, meaning that we'll probably get other infrastructure. Shout out to Mahalo Joe. That is level 100. My man, get that bread. I think for daCat, what we are going to do is we are going to have a catchphrase called let's get this fish. Obviously taking from the humans, let's get this bread, let's get this fish. We're going to make it happen. MasterCard has partnered with MetaMask to integrate Ethereum payments. Michael Saylor says to buy more Bitcoin right now. That is a white girl meme that someone sent me. We have Joshu from Definity Market saying, Bloomsbury, there have been some minor teething issues with the underlying bank's tech stack. Nothing significant, just annoying small issues that need resolving and take time. Chris says that they have put us about a month behind schedule, with first accounts just getting properly live right now. Electronic trading, small caps, while this has taken longer than expected, the first accounts are also starting to go live now. For both Bloomsbury and electronic trading, the main perspective Chris wanted to get across is that ramping up will be much easier than getting the first clients live. So in that sense, these few weeks and months have been a bit of a hump to get over, but sailing should be smoother going forward. He's still expecting to see things starting, including first Definity utility and the beginning of the next phase of scaling for the business before year's end. Bank model is going to be live with the original bank. It was delayed in part by UK regulatory uncertainty. The FCA were supposed to release a framework in January of 2025, which didn't happen. It's now supposed to be January 2026, but may well still not happen. This continuing regulatory uncertainty makes the UK-based bank skittish. Heckham. Definity are still in advanced talks with a number of other banks and have brought in a new advisor whose sole role will be to push this forward. Another very positive piece is that following an in-depth consultant process, the regulator in Jersey wants to be... Oh, I don't have it. I guess they want to move forward with that. Senator John Thune says that senators will remain in session until the deal is struck to reopen the U.S. government. Sounds like that's going to be soon. Vampire, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, California Comics got edition number 1000. I don't know how. I think they made like $22,000 with that drop, which is wild considering that it's a diorama. And the dioramas usually, they only make a couple grand. So I'm going to go see exactly how much money was made with this. So they were at $30 each, and they had sold 821, about $24,000, give or take, a little bit more than that. And very, very excited for that. daCat is number one on Memezilla, again, beating out Monster Web 3, Nom Token, Hedgecoin, Landwolf Base, Burge Dog Boys Club, Young Peasy Pepe, Doggo Inu ETH, Baby Trump Token, and Kulo. That is a great name. Kulo. Trump says 20 trillion could be injected into the U.S. economy by the end of 2025. Rate cut in December, quantitative tightening finally ending, and QE starting soon, and now this straight fire. Ben in Korea says I should do a collab with Eon Rift. My daCat vibe would fit in the universe so well. I actually shot Eon Rift a message, and they have not gotten back to me. So I will keep you all posted. I'm going to go and... Oh, they actually haven't... I don't know how Eon Rift is doing because they haven't been on X since July. So I'm going to unfollow them because I'm not going to... If you're not on X since July, that... Apparently Bill Gardner talks to him all the time. Boot saying, if VeVe made a Super Smash Bros. Type game using the Marvel collectibles they have in market, bro, yeah, that'd be insane. But again, that's... To make a game like that, that takes a lot of time. I don't think they should start with that. They should start because like that's also going to take millions of dollars, which I don't think VeVe had. They could raise that whenever they want, but you don't know how well that's going to be received. So you want to go in and make something smaller first. Make it something that normal people can play as well. And like Mario Run, I think that was called. You could play that with one hand. Mario Run was a pretty fun game, and if you start with something small, you're not going to make a $5 million investment for something that's not proven because we don't know like who's going to make that game. If they get big enough and they could buy like Square Enix for a couple billion or whatever, sure, have them make the games. They make killer games. Disney themselves doesn't make games. Disney hires Square Enix to make those Kingdom Hearts games. Disney is horrible at making games. So they hire other companies to do it. So VeVe would likely do the same. Where were we before you left off?
Oh, we were just talking about gaming, how to
right.
build, how to make, I was showing you like Marvel and all this.
Oh yeah, the Marvel Strike. There's what was the one that came out over like summer, or maybe it's like a year? Jeff the Land Shark was like a huge character in there. Marvel Rivals, I think it was then.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
A bunch of my friends were super into that. I had on my Facebook timeline, like, you go to your memories every year. 13 years ago, a good 10% of my friends did not vote because of Halo 4. They were inside all day. And then I think 2020, my friends didn't vote because of Fallout 4. I was like, oh my God, this is wild. To be a gamer, good times. What other NFT games do you play? Do you play like Off the Grid, or do you play
Wag-Me Defense?
Wag-Me Defense. I haven't played that. Is that like a what's that called? Like a defensive game, like a Bloons
tower defense? So the only games that I really play, as a matter of fact, this can be like in full disclosure. This is going to be what I play. Legitimately. I play Baseball 9. I play a game called Galaxy Defense, which is and by the way, this is another one that could just be a fantastic NFT game. This is just a phone game where you can upgrade your characters and stuff like. Oh yeah, I was logged in on my phone or something like that. Anyway, you can. It's basically a tower defense game. You get rewards every day for doing stuff. There's starter packs and stuff like that you can, and you collect. And then once you've got yourself set up, then you just go in here and you start battling and you start earning and, winning shit and getting whatever. So, I mean, a lot of opportunity. But then the other thing is, you guys are going to be like, what the fuck? What is wrong with you, Bleeves? I've been doing this for, I'm going to say right now, maybe 13 years off and on.
Bethesda, nice. Galaxy Defense you can play on your phone? Booth is asking, apparently, right?
I off and on play Skyrim.
Nice.
And I've played it through and through and through over and over again, and I use new mods. I'm in
have you done the cheese mod?
I'm in the Thieves Guild right now. No, but I just saw a video of where you can get the only full Eider cheese wheel. There's only one, the largest cheese wheel. I don't know exactly where it is. I just saw a video on it. it was not important for me because I don't think there's a reward for it or anything like that. Galaxy Defense you can play on your phone. Yes, Galaxy Defense you play on your phone. And I just now did. This is I'm in the Ratways in Riften right now. Every couple days I'll log in here, like when I'm not doing anything, and just do a couple of quests, stuff like that. I restarted the other day. I cleaned my entire computer up, got rid of all my mods, started putting in some different mods and stuff like that. I just killed Grelod the Unkind. Grelod the Kind, whatever.
Savage.
Well, she beats the kids. So, and then the reason that I still play this, to be fair, like, is not because of the base game. It's because of this right here. It's called the Dragonborn Gallery. There's a mod called Legacy of the Dragonborn.
Yeah.
And you have your own museum that's located in Solitude. It's a little hazy because the mods that I use make it hazier. I'm just trying different mods out. Yeah. But inside here is an entire museum where when you get weapons and stuff like that, you can hang them on the wall. Everything in the game that you can possibly get, like all of your ivory claws, your glass dragon claw, the golden claw. I've got Ragot's mask so far. I just restarted this game not too long ago. I've got Iladon's ward. I've got the Cyrus's saber.
Just restarted it, huh?
Yeah, steel battle axe of fiery souls. Well, I know where to go to get some of these things.
Oh, true.
So, like, I immediately go and get some of these things, like the Galder Blackblade and the staff of Jarek Galderson, because those are in the same, like. Oh, and my character is a mage, so.
A mage in the Thieves Guild.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, and I also have another one, which is completely awesome. If you've ever played this game, then I got this, the Explorer Society, where you hire people. Like, this is a crazy thing. You hire people to work for you, and they're in the Explorers Guild here, and you can earn new skills to become an excavator and stuff like that, and you get new rewards. But also, you can go to this place called Elsewhere, which is where the cat people come from.
Oh, the Khajiit?
Yeah. And then I defeated the quest, and they gave me the DEVVE. It's a ship that you can fly around in.
Epic.
And then you can pop in here, and it's like a mobile, basically it's like a mobile home for you.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
How fast can you travel on that?
Inside, you've got your enchanting lab, you've got your disenchanting font, which is not in the regular game, it's part of the new game. But your gems, you've got poisons, you've got ingredients, you've got your alchemy lab, your enchanter. Then you've got your archaeology station when you get archaeology artifacts and stuff like that. Then down here, you've got storage for everything. If you roll this rug up, by the way, there's a hidden spot, the Smuggler's Hold. Down in the Smuggler's Hold is a secret Sanamia's journal right there, which I'll take. And then you've got a bunch of stuff down here that you can just open. You can just put stuff in here. And then when you're done, close it. Put that back. And then over here is where you keep all of your weapons. Then there's one for your armor right here, light armor, heavy armor. Then you've got shields. Then you've got all your foodstuffs and shit like that. And you've got cold storage, which are your cooked foods. And then you've got all your iron ingots and shit like that over here. You've got your grindstone, tanning rack, all of the shit that you need. And then up here, you've got a smelter and an anvil and a wood pile in case you need wood. You just have to leave yourself an axe.
Can you put anything in the smelter? Is it just iron? Can you put silver? Can you put any metals in there?
It gives you a list here. When you go into the smelter, it gives you what's available. So you use the smelter, and you can make amber, aqua aura, corundum ingots, dragon bone, dwarven metal ingots, ebony, gold, iron, madness, orichalcum, quicksilver, refined amber, refined malachite again, refined moonstone, silver ingots, steel ingots, and then of course you can convert some of the stuff that you hold. Like this is a heavy splintered round shield. I can turn into 3 steel ingots, and I like the ingots more than I like the rest of it. And the good part is this is like a little storage area. If you look in here, I've got a whole bunch of ores and stuff like that.
So I feel like steel's pretty useful, but why is that malachite worth 5 steel ingots?
Oh, because malachite is more rare. It produces like glass armor.
Gotcha.
So
Glass
then
armor.
I can leave here and I can go in. I go back into the Explorers Guild. And upstairs, I have a private chambers, which is where your basic storage goes. And boom. This is my safe house. In my safe house, when I'm done going out and doing whatever I want to do, and by the way, I've got Christmas decorations up because it allows you to do that. You can go here to your sell pile. You click on this. These are all the things that I'm selling. And then you can go down your list of stuff that you have, like my warbow here, get rid of that, get rid of the arrow, get rid of the elven mace, the iron dagger. On the apparel, we want to get rid of that, get rid of that. We got the blades armor here, which, by the way, if you have like blades armor or something like that, and you want to hold it for some reason, then I can go over here, and I've created an armory in this room where I have my dragon armor, and then I can take this, click on him, go to the apparel, blade armor, boots, gauntlet, helmet, and shield. Boom. And now,
wait, what was that last thing?
A shield.
The last thing that you looked at that looked like it was worth 8,400 value.
Oh, that's probably the shield.
Or maybe it what? Maybe it was. I thought I saw something that was worth. Oh wait, it was.
Yeah, there's some things that I have.
24.
Yeah, there's some things that I have that are worth quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Then you have there's a thing called King Orgnum's Coffer, and this is a secret entrance, but you click the candle right there.
Oh,
that
sweet.
Opens the secret door. And then you can put King Orgnum's Coffer right here, and it automatically generates money for you. I can take this and activate the treasury, and I can go down to the bottom, and I can take my gold and throw, let's say...
you have so much gold.
Yeah, we're going to store 80,000. There we go. So I'm storing 80,000 gold, and look at this, it fills up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So now if I ever need it, I can just come back over here, take it all, and boom, it disappears. Otherwise, King Orgnum's Coffer will just keep filling it up. Then I have a bath in here. It doesn't do anything, but
aesthetically.
Yeah, just like a decoration. And then if you want to, I have this room over here, which is a study where you can put books and shit like that. But if I want to, I can go over here to my station, household planner, household control. No, whoops. Furniture. And then I can go here next, Armory B. Click on that. And now it's an armory.
Fucking dope.
Yeah, so you can just change it around, make it whatever you want it to be. And then if you want to cook foods and stuff like that, you have your own kitchen.
That is a big hall.
And then you have all the stuff that all the stuff that you find and you earn and you make in this game can be stored in this Dragonborn Museum. And then as you play, a quest continues to evolve. So you could be fighting, like, for example, and I didn't find this until, like, I'd played this for probably 2 years, but I don't really like go in and find like cheat codes and stuff like that. But I'm in here one day and this thing is full from one of my gameplays where I've got just shit everywhere. And I come, for whatever reason, I'd never come this way. And I was like down here and I was bored and I was looking at something like over here on the wall or something. And I come down, I'm like, what's this? hit a button. There's a secret room.
What was in the room when you first?
It's empty, but it starts a quest. You go down these stairs. This is all in Legacy of the Dragonborn, by the way. And you go into this. There's this room here that you're going to have to unlock.
Was those spider webs?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ta-da. This is just an empty room, and it says, ask Orion about the hidden room. So then you go back and you ask Orion, and he's like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Do you want to use it for private storage? This is all the illegal shit in the game that you're not supposed to have. You can display in this little private hiding room. Like once you've killed, I don't remember what his name is, but there's like a vampire from the Dawn Guard. And if you kill the vampire in the Dawn Guard, there's like a quest where you get body parts of vampires. And you can store them down there in the secret chamber.
There's a couple of memes that I've seen, or I guess videos that turn into memes. But what would you do if in 6 months you go, your bags have gone crazy, you're worth $30 million, you have a couple drinks, you go out, you celebrate, you go to sleep, and then as you wake up, you're in a carriage and somebody says, you're awake and you're in the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. All of it was a dream.
Well, that would mean that I was heading to Helgen, and that would mean that they're about to kill somebody. So I would play along with them. My first thing would be to get out of Helgen, get to Riverwood. Then I would go from Riverwood to Whiterun, because then I would have to notify the Jarl that I've seen Jarl. I would have to notify him that I saw a dragon. I would just play the Dragonborn game. That'd be fucking awesome.
We have a comment from Gold Ellian saying GTA 6 has been delayed yet again to 2026. And I know you don't bet on sports, but do you bet on things in general?
No. Just crypto. Just crypto.
Polymarket has a bunch of bets out there saying what will happen before GTA 6. There's now a 75% chance that ChatGPT 6 is released, 63% chance that both Russia-Ukraine ceasefire and a new Playboi Carti album are released. There's a coin flip, 50% chance that Trump's out as president, and a 49% chance that Jesus Christ returns, just above Bitcoin hitting $1 million.
Before GTA is released, right?
Before GTA 6, yeah. So this was at like 11%, which I thought was high already, but it's at 49% now.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to take it, but I also kind of don't, because like that seems like, okay, it's a coin flip. Whatever you bet, you get your money back in. But like, I don't know. I've seen some crazy stuff. I don't want to put in 10 grand. Seems like a sure thing, and then suddenly somehow.
You know what? To be very fair, and I've known the guys at Polymarket since the beginning, like when they were first getting started. I was gonna do stuff with them, but I told them I don't gamble, so there was nothing I could do. Like I just wasn't gonna do it.
Yeah.
But I should have. God damn, man, they blew up. But if you go look at them, I think their prediction market is 97% accurate.
They're more accurate than experts for political elections. It's insane. And it's not like these are like small things that are being bet. Like there's $6.2 million being bet that Jesus Christ returned. Like that's real money.
Yeah.
You have an insane amount. God, it's all the time. Like they made a South Park episode about this recently. South Park has been crushing it this year.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so good.
I'm telling everybody, I'm like, South Park is in a golden age right now. Like, God damn it, they are hilarious.
Oh, I love this game.
Yeah.
So I love being alive right now. Like I know when I was younger in like high school, I had a couple people who said that they wish they were born in like the 1920s or alive for that time. And, you know, roaring 20s, like obviously you'd have to live through the Great Depression and stuff. And it's a really weird decade sandwiched between World War I, Great Depression, then World War II. I feel like as a brown person, I would probably not go anything before 1970. But but honestly, this is like the best time to be alive. Like everything is so awesome. Technology is awesome. Food is great. Well,
every year is a better year than the year before it, historically. I mean, no matter what. I mean, would it be crazy to be born in the 1870s or 1880s or something like that? I mean, no, it would fucking suck. Even if you were rich, it would suck. You live better poor today than you did rich 200 years ago. So
even 100, even probably 60 years ago, I'd rather be poor in 2025 than middle class in 1990.
Right. Yeah. It's just so different, so yeah, we are, and by the way, we're in the safest society. We're in this is every time it gets better. The only thing that makes it different is media telling you what to think. I mean, that's other than that, the world is a better place. Matter of fact, just recently, while Donald Trump was sending the ICE troops into Chicago and stuff like that, the murder rate here was down to a 47-year low.
Good
I mean,
stuff.
it's still high. I mean, if you're still, remember, there's gang wars going on. There's still a lot of gang violence and stuff like that just needs to be addressed at some point. But that's not going to be black community. You're not just going to walk into the black community, no matter whether you're black or anything, and just say, hey, stop fighting each other. They're going to shoot you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to create opportunity for people. And then you have to be willing to fight for that opportunity from those people who will try to stifle that opportunity. Like, you have to create jobs that you have to create opportunity for people so that they can get out of what it is that they're doing. And then you have to let the system play itself out, and you have to let the system work, and nobody really wants to do that because there's no money in it.
Yeah, it'd have to be a big, I mean, you have like military, you can kind of, get out and go to the military. But I think it would take a really long, probably a couple million.
But if I told you your opportunity was in the military, what am I telling you? Die for me.
Well, I wouldn't put it that. I mean, yes,
I wouldn't put it that way. You wouldn't put it that way. They would.
Yeah.
You want me to stop? You want me to stop killing my enemies so I can kill your enemies?
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, that's really what you're telling somebody when you give them the military as an option. That military option is an option, but it should be something that they decide. It shouldn't be something that you force them or conscript them into or something like that. So, at best, you create a factory that makes something, and you create opportunities for jobs. And then you do the best that you can to build that community from that factory area. I mean, there's a lot of zoning and stuff like that. So again, I don't have the answers. I'm not saying that it is a factory that's going to fix everything in bankrupt communities, but there's something that we're not doing. Donald Trump's not doing it, but then again, Barack Obama didn't do it. Joe Biden didn't do it. George Bush didn't do it. Nobody did it. So, and the other thing is, I mean, if you've come from broken homes and broken societies and broken families, like, how do you fix all that? You know what I mean?
That's hard. I mean, so there's one of the things that it's so strange that none of the governments of the world, at least to my knowledge, at least right now, they don't make a test for you to have a kid. Like, they've all the governments have collectively decided, let people breed on their own.
No, they didn't. They didn't decide that.
Where is that wrong?
The Bible.
Marvel?
The Bible decided that.
I mean, the governments of the world don't necessarily have to listen to that. Like, regardless of whether they believe in the Bible or not, because you have governments of the world that obviously do, like America, I feel like is
most civilized countries have a form of religion of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
All of those religions, in order for them to propagate and for them to continue to grow, require indoctrination. The easiest indoctrination that you can have is birth, which is why they don't believe in contraceptive. I mean, and by the way, for anybody who looks into the Bible and really says abortion is against, like, because abortion is one of those things where, you know, abortion is against God's will and I'm here to protect children, stuff like that. The only real reference to abortion in the Bible, in fact, is saying that I believe it's something about the breath of life, birth. You're not a human until you're born. Not in the womb. In the womb, you're nothing. You become a child of God when you breathe, or when you take the first breath and the breath of God breathes into you, or something like that. That's not against abortion at all. That's not saying that it starts at conception. That's saying it starts when you take your first breath. So, but in order for you to propagate the species, in order for you to continue to, I mean, let's face facts. I mean, I assume because your name is Chavez that you know why Canada or why Mexico is Catholic.
I actually don't.
Spanish came. The Spaniards came during the Inquisition, and they said, "Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?" And the Mexican said, "What the fuck is Jesus? Do you mean Jesus, my gardener? What are you talking about?" And they said, "Oh, hold on. Let me grab a knife here." And they chopped these people's heads off. And then they looked at the next person and says, "Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?" And they were like, "Sure."
They did that to Peru too. Yeah.
Exactly. They did that to the entire Central and South American worlds. And they did it until there was nobody left to fight back. And everybody had to accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior. That was the Inquisition. That was part of the Inquisition at that time.
What a show. You ever see History of the World?
Yeah. I know you're wishing that we'd go away, but the Inquisition's here and it's here too. Hey, Takamata, what do you say? Yeah, that's a good one. But the thing is, that's exactly what happened. I mean, that's what happened. They killed everybody who would not accept Jesus, so that the only people left were the ones that, and even if you were just kidding, wink, wink, they were watching and they stayed there to make sure that you embraced Jesus. And now Mexico's Catholic.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I forget where we're going with this, but I guess making a good point here is that a lot of the places in the world, like, you don't require a license to breed. You don't require a license to, and I think that's good, because I've seen some people come from broken homes that are, honestly, and again, I'm cherry picking some data here, but I've seen, like, I had a, not necessarily happy, but I wasn't ever beaten to the point where I ever had to go to the hospital. I wasn't ever like again, it wasn't happy. There was a lot of not good things going on there, but I feel like I am relatively normal. And there were a couple of friends that I had that had it worse, that, like, if CPS, and I assume CPS was always a thing, but if they would have been called, like, they would have gotten out and put into some foster care program, and they were like better people than me for a time. Like, so I've seen some people come in from broken homes that are successful, that are generally happy. Am I with them all the time to confirm that they're not a little fucked up in the head? Like, no, but I don't know. I feel like that hardship when you're a kid builds great character. And I did acid and thought about this a couple months ago, and it seems that the best way to move humanity forward is to get your top minds into the top universities, or at least the top way to learn. I think at some point universities won't be that way anymore. It'll be AI and some different type of way of learning. But you can, like, Chamath Palihapitiya came from, he's like a billionaire now, but he came from like nothing in Sri Lanka, I think. There are, so I don't know, acid almost made me kind of like pro-life, because like I get it. Like, what Gold Elgin's saying is that, yeah, the average couple with a high IQ will have 1 to 2 kids, and the average couple with a low IQ will have like 4 kids. Thus, the average IQ goes down. I get that. But also with that, you'll have some of the people that just magically have decent IQs from people that are not, and they can go on to change the world. And that rising tide, it's the same thing with the 1% and everyone else. A lot of political strife about that. And yes, that gap between the 1% and everyone else is widening, and people should pay attention to that. But like you said before, because of the fact that you have a lot of inventors inventing and makers making, the world just gets better. And it's not like magic. There's reasons for that happening. Abject poverty goes down, literacy levels go up, and more wealth is created. I think in the same way that you have, yes, the world is filling up with dumb people, it's also filling up with smart people. And it's those smart people that will make life better for everyone else, as long as they're able to, as long as they're able to have those opportunities to go to a good university or be in a field of work that they can specialize in.
Yeah. And study after study, by the way, intelligent people breeding less has no effect on IQ. If you're intelligent and you have a baby, what gives that baby intelligence is not you being smart. It's the environment in which you provide for that child. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's not geniuses don't beget more geniuses. Geniuses understand what it took to become geniuses, and they try to impart that onto their child. But you know, for every just to give you guys just to give you an example here, Elon Musk, we consider him at this point to be one of the smartest men on the planet, or at least one of the most ambitious men, or you know, we think that he's a pretty smart guy, right? He has a daughter who used to be a son that he's abandoned because they decided they were trans. Does that sound like somebody who was born of a genius to you? Because it doesn't to me. And in fact, you don't know anything about Elon's kids. All 14 of them, you don't know anything about Elon's kids because they're not doing anything. They're living a life of luxury. It has nothing to do with how smart Elon is. By the way, Kimball Musk, his father, is currently married to his daughter. So you want to talk about a gross fucking family?
Gross. No, it's really gross.
Yeah, and the other kid, goddamn, what's his name? I think it was
his brother.
Yeah, isn't his brother also Kimball Jr. or something like that?
I thought his brother was Kimball. Yeah.
Yeah. Kimball is not setting the world on fire building shit. Like becoming smart is not because of that. It's becoming smart is because, you know, you create a desire in a person to be that way, and then you cultivate it, or at least that person figures out how to cultivate it in themselves. So yeah. I don't worry about the people breed because they want to perpetuate their namesake, or they want to just continue on, or they want to create a legacy, or they want to continue creating more Catholics. You know, they because it's taught to us. It's taught to us. And somebody once said something, and this is going to be the final thing because I got to go get my son something for dinner. Somebody once said that I don't remember exactly how to frame it either. That there's key indicators in your life that will dictate whether or not you have what it takes to grasp knowledge. And over time, you always make your way. But the primary motivator is your quest for knowledge, number one. And number two, how you absorb and how you're treated in your environment, because the environment matters way more than everything else. And by the way, living in a billionaire home doesn't make you smarter. Living in a millionaire home doesn't make you smarter. Living in poverty doesn't make you smarter. The quest for knowledge is what makes you smarter. Now, genetically speaking, you have a predisposition based on your genetics on how you could remember things. But everybody here, everybody that's watching right now, everybody that you're friends with, everybody here is capable of being a genius. You have to understand what being a genius is. You have to manifest that in your daily life. You have to figure out, how do I remember things? Then how do I apply certain principles? How do I apply postulates and theorems that I learn in algebra to my regular life? When you learn how to do those things, you're a fucking genius too. It's simple. It's really simple. It's not, the only thing biological is how easily it happens. But anything that you practice, 10,000 times, you become really good at. So practice being fucking smart.
It's a good point. Please, I love you always imparting wisdom, attempting to inculcate us with the smart. We'll have you back on again soon. Yeah, and go get that bread. I'll finish up here with the rest of the comments, but I'll catch you later.
All right, man. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much to you guys for the spirited debate and everything that went along with it. If you're interested, you know where the fuck you can find me. And if you want to talk dev, this guy over here.
Do a video on it later. Peace. Yeah, what do we got? Randy, how'd you make your million back? A lot of hard work. Working for various companies and getting pieces of those companies. Those companies grow. Obviously buying more crypto, obviously getting paid, doing various other things. And yeah, it took a couple of years, but we did it. So I was millionaire in 21, 22, was not a millionaire in 23, was not a millionaire in 24, and then became one again earlier this year. Gold Elgin saying another taboo topic is that lots of guys with IQs above 120 are incels. Statistically, there's a spike. That is bananas. So reading that based, and I'm sure that's correct, but reading that, what was the average IQ in America? Like 100, 105 maybe? If you're 15 to 20 points smarter than the average person, like you should be a little bit more successful, and you should be able to figure out a way to have a leg up on those that are not as smart. And I get, like sometimes people need a little help. Sometimes, like I've had help. I've gotten very lucky with my opportunities. My superpower is that I just got lucky. I can eat shit for a while, meaning like I can grind and work like nobody's business. I work harder than 99.99% than anyone else out there in the world. And I could do it, and I could have like no life, and that's all I could do. But I happened to be lucky that I was born with a decent brain. I was lucky that I was adopted out of Peru. I was lucky that I was able to meet some of the people that I've met, and I would not be here today without them. But that being said, like even if I didn't meet those people specifically, I would have had I don't know. I just that's very wild to me that guys on average with a lot of guys with above 120 are incels, because like if you're smarter, then like use that to make yourself successful. Use that to make yourself a man of style. Like you don't need to have an average IQ or above average IQ to just go work out and get strong. Like there's a good, I'm going to say 30% of my intimate dating knowledge, we'll call it that, or intimate dating escapades that I've been involved with just because of my body. Obviously not now. I look like shit, but in my youth, it was, yeah, I'd say a good 30% of it was just because of the body. For guys that are smarter as well and should be able to make something of themselves with that IQ, it's very wild to me to hear that a lot of them are incels and they just don't get girls. It is not hard. Yeah, it's very strange. Autistic guys with high IQs are generally not attractive to women. I resent that remark, sir. Again, it might have just been maybe if it's, and I might be the exception, not the rule, but if you're really good at masking and you could pretend like, yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and say a genius level. Like I don't know what it is. I'm going to assume 135 plus. But yeah, I mean, I've seen the guys that you're talking about, and yeah, a lot of them are generally a little nerdier. A lot of them really don't take care of themselves. A lot of them are not, they don't pick up on the social cues. but it's like anything else. Like Bleeves was just saying, practice something 10,000 times and you'll be really good at it. If you practice learning those social cues, shouldn't be that. It's like anything else. It's like a video game. It's like training in the field, like in the military. Okay, how do you disarm someone? How do you clear a room? Like you do it enough times and suddenly you get good at it. It's the same with anything else. So but yeah, I know what you're saying, because we've all, like, if I'm asking you to picture an autistic guy with a high IQ, you're probably thinking of someone that is really not very good shape. They're probably like super into video games and Pokemon and stuff, and or in the comic book. Like, okay, fair point. But yeah, I just, a lot of them are probably introverted. A lot of introverts don't really, it's harder for them to get women. Being extroverted, I feel like people mistake a lot of times just being extroverted and just wanting to talk to people with like confidence. And yeah, sure, I have a lot of confidence now. Did I when I was like 12? No, I just wanted to talk to people. And I guess girls assume that was just confident. But yeah, a lot of dudes, especially young dudes nowadays, they just don't get laid. They're like afraid of women. It is so strange to me. And it started years ago. When I first got into the military, it was after work. Where are we partying tonight? Like whose house are we going to? Whose house are we knocking up to go in and drink at? And there was a mix. You had guys, you had girls, you had all this stuff there. And then like the end of my enlistment, I come back from deployment, and none of that was happening anymore. It was like the new guys that were in there, and don't get me wrong, I love to stay inside and play video games. I love to do that stuff, but that's all these new guys were doing. They were just like, it's like, bro, like, you're not going out, you're not like getting girls, like, you're not. It was insane. So I've noticed the trend, and that trend has only gotten worse for young men over the last decade, where that, God, I've been out of the military almost 10 years. It's like it'll be 9 next month. It's bananas. Yeah, that problem has only gotten worse, and there's multiple reasons for it. You have dating apps. When I was, I think, starting like maybe not '05. Nobody really had apps in '05. Maybe like there were dating websites. So where one of the first dating websites was like Ashley Madison, which we used to like cheat on your husband with or your wife with, like legit for an affair. It was bananas. Match.com, and then eHarmony, I think. So I used Match a couple times successfully, but literally like my first match was getting catfished. So it wasn't really a catfish. It kind of was. So I'm 19, and I meet this girl Ashley, and we decide. So she's in like Farmingdale. I was in like Levittown at the time, and we go to we meet somewhere in the middle at this place called, I think it was TGI Fridays. It's in this like mall type area, and it in between where we go. Cool. And she was a little older. She was like 26, and again I'm 19, and then I was fine. Not the youngest. I was 19 dating a 45-year-old. Anyway, there was this. She looked cute in her pictures. And her pictures must have been of her in like high school or something, like 80 pounds ago. And I get there, and it's the same girl, but she put on like 80 pounds. And if I would have met her at like the bar randomly, let's say I go on a date and I get stood up, and I'm just at the bar drinking, scrolling on Reddit, TikTok, whatever. And well, there's no TikTok in 2010, but let's say it's like Reddit or whatever I'm on. If she were to sit next to me and strike up a conversation, I would be very cordial, and we'd be friends. She buys me enough drinks, then then maybe, who knows. But it would be fine. And so I wasn't being like an ass to her because she was fat. I was being an ass to her because she lied, and she put up pictures of her that did not look like her anymore. And it's like, okay, So I made her pay for half her meal. I was still there. I was still a decent date that night. I was like, yeah, I'm Randy. I'm working at an animal hospital. I'm working at this chimney place. I'm doing this, um, and we were talking, and we had an okay time. Check in, 2 checks, please. And my friend Menardo, who worked there at the time, gave us 2 checks. She looked at me, at her, and that was it. If again, if it were, if she had, again, if I had seen her randomly like at a bar, again, I'd be cordial, I'd be nice, we'd be friends. But the fact that she lied, like I don't know how I got on this freaking conversation. Oh yeah, so the apps. There was Match.com, there's eHarmony, which I never used, and then when I was in the military, it was Plenty of Fish. Plenty of Fish was like, I don't know if it goes by region, but Plenty of Fish was like, it was Tinder before Tinder. That was where you went, and God bless whoever created that website. God bless that website. God bless the devs. And then yeah, Tinder was fine too. But eventually it gets to a point, and here's why a lot of young guys get kind of the short end of the stick, especially if you're not conventionally attractive. I'm not going to say that I was conventional. There were times where the body was a 10. Face might have been a 7, but holy crap, the body was a 10. And again, that's what I used to make up for the okayness back in the day of the face. But when I got into the military, yeah, make sure one of the photos is you in your military outfit. And there were I've gotten dates specifically because I've gotten laid specifically because of that. Some girls fall in love with the uniform. Some girls want the benefits. Some like, pick your whatever. That's what they have. But a lot of, for online dating, it's the Pareto distribution where 80%, 20% of the men get 80% of the women. And this is across all avenues, where in a company, 20% of the people do 80% of the work, 20% of the people get, the rest of the, get most of the wealth. And it's across all forms of life that we have currently. So if you're like this kind of like, okay looking guy, and you don't have a good haircut, and you don't dress well, and you have these like noodle arms, and there's just like, you could be like a super awesome dude. You could be super interesting. You'd be super funny. If you're not playing the game, you're not going to win. So yeah, a lot of these girls will go after the same guys, and a lot of these guys that they're going after are like, they're chads. They're tall. They got the the facial muscles. They got real muscles. They got a nice car. They got a sweet job. And okay, well, fair point for the women. They're going after what they want. And a lot of these guys are just cleaning up. They are cleaning house, and they'll have 2 dates a night. And as long as they have a decent job to pay for it, they're getting laid every night. For me, like, I don't even know if I can say, I can't even say this. So I work hard, but I make damn sure I play hard. I don't know if anyone's ever heard the song "Everywhere I Go" by I forget the name of the band. Everywhere I go, Hollywood Undead. I don't go anywhere unless I have a bae. So I've also been on the, and granted, both sexes cheat, right? Like it's not just a guy or girl thing. It's like, oh yeah, hoes ain't loyal. No, guys, a lot of guys are pigs too, and they're dogs, and they'll cheat. Like, a lot of people cheat, and it is awful. I've never cheated. Will never cheat. I can't say I will not. I've never, and I never plan to. I would not do that. If I am cheating, something has gone horribly wrong in my life. But that being said, I'm always generally very open when I first start dating girls. Like, am I more into looking for a relationship now? Yes. But I was like, okay, what are we? And just like, hey, listen, if you just want to boink, that's fine. We'll, if you want to just do a one night thing, a weekend thing here, sure, that's fine. If you want to be friends with benefit, that's fine. If you want to be in a relationship with me, okay, here's what I'm expecting. What are you expecting? Let's see if we can negotiate these terms, aggressively negotiate these terms. But I've also, I don't think I would be this guy anymore. I hope not. But there have been times where, let's say, like, one of the prime examples I have is Comic-Con 2019. I'm online for this cruise, right? The cosplay cruise. And me and my friends are in line, people in back of us, people in front of us. And this one group ahead of us, we just start talking to whatever. And I won't say the girl's name, but she's like, I will call her Betty. It's like, I'm Betty. Like, I think she was Starfire. I forget what costume she was. And I was Crow from Ruby. And I was like, oh, I think at the time I was in Long Island. And I was like, where are you from? She's like, oh, me and my boyfriend are, what's a college town up there? Not Ithaca. Well, that's a college town, but Binghamton, I think. And I was like, oh, very cool. So again, she wasn't being like, I have a boyfriend. She was just like, oh yeah, me and my boyfriend live up there. Cool. 2 hours into the cruise, I'm online to go to the bathroom. What do I hear coming out of the woman's bathroom? Randy, I found you. Oh, hey, how's it going? That was the first time Amazon launched herself at me. And I was like, oh, okay. And completely, and yeah, sure. I've also been at, again, I'm only speaking from personal experience. I'm sure guys do it too, but I'm not doing guys. I'm only intimate with the ladies. Where I've had girls come from dates that legit, like, they just went out on a date. A guy paid for their food. They bring me the doggy bag as a leftover, and we boink. Like, that is wild. I've had girls come over and be biblical with me before they go out on a date. Like, Jesus, that is diabolical. And again, I'm certain guys do it too. I'm positive they do it. I'm only speaking from experience here. You have 20% of the guys getting the majority of the women. And again, when women will have that option of like, yeah, this dude's a freaking Chad over here, and you have a guy that, again, you could be super smart, and you just, if you don't look, you have to play the part. You have to play the part of someone that, okay, like, look like you have your shit together. There was somebody that messaged me, this was a couple months ago. It was like, oh, you don't know that? I was like, listen, I only act like I know everything. I actually don't. And they had to inform me about something, but yeah, look the part, play the part, and take care of yourself. If you are, and I know there's a bunch of other comments, I just haven't, oh, okay, there's not that many. Go. I think Ben Shapiro has this thing for how to be, like, not super broke. There's just like, graduate high school, get a job, and don't have kids out of wedlock. If you do those three things, you're going to be in an okay position. The three things that I would have is take care of yourself. So, like, don't always be fat as shit. Work out in that take care of yourself thing. Have a decent job, and be well rounded. Like, be well read, be interested. Like, it's great if you memorize the periodic table and you know all 1,000 Pokemon, and like, it's great if you have these feats of the mind. But if you can't lift your own body weight, something is wrong. And I understand there's people that have medical conditions. Like, my back was broken for like a year, and I couldn't do anything, and it showed in my body. Like, as soon as I was healthy enough again, back on the pull-ups, back on everything. Again, if you could have these amazing feats of the mind, and that's great, but if you can't lift your body weight, if you can't, like, how is a woman supposed to feel protected and safe around you if you're not a monster? If you're not like if you can't lift her up out of if you can't lift her out of a burning car, if you can't drag her, if you can't carry her away from stuff, like, bro, like the amount of women that I've been with that I've picked up and thrown them on the bed, and they say like, "You good? Just never been picked up like that before." I'm not dating like these 300-pound women. The amount of women that are maybe 150 pounds that I've lifted up, and the girls will say, "I've just never been picked." It is 150 pounds. You men need to start being better. If you can't lift, like, don't complain. And I know this is not you, Golden. You're just, or maybe it is. I don't know. You're just to this comment here. Again, I don't know. I don't think I'd be conventionally good. Again, sometimes the body's really good. It's not right now. Working on it, getting it back. But again, I was on the couch for like a year, not by choice. Dude, yeah. A lot of guys that they don't get women really have no one to blame but themselves. And it's like, well, listen, I work hard. I don't really like social media. I don't do, okay, cool. I'm glad that you work hard, and that's great. We're going to be friends. We're going to have beers together, whatever. And I'll introduce you to some, but it's a game. And how well do you play that? Like, you might be well deserving of a chick. You might treat her awesome. And that's the other thing. Like, girls don't want simps. They don't want, I mean, okay, I'll take that back. You can be a simp and a girl will settle for bullying you, but that is not a predictor of long-term happiness at all. You will not get a happy, fulfilling, long-term relationship if it's just like, "Yes, dear, I'll do whatever you want, dear. Jump in, I'll say how high, dear." That's not good for anyone. I don't think I know any successful relationship like that where they're both happy. I don't. I've seen that a lot. I've seen that up close and personal where, like, dude, she is just walking all over you, and not all the time, but a fair amount of the time that woman cheats. Because again, woman has options. If you want to have and I can only speak on how to get women. Keeping them has been a little bit, well, I'm not married, so again, I haven't. I've been close a couple times, but if you're, it's just human psychology. If you're not with anyone for like years, and it's really evident that you're not with anyone for years, like, okay, what woman's gonna want you? If you're out dating a lot, if you're out having, and I'm not saying to go and sleep with everyone you meet. I'm saying not to do that, but if you're wanted by others, if you're wanted by a multiple amount of people, girls, the more you'll be wanted. And I've seen it before where, and that's been me a couple times where, and I don't, so I'll use my own personal example, not just I'll get to what I've seen before. I post thirst traps on Instagram. It works. Hey, look at this daCat tattoo. And then, after you work out, where your arms are bulging, and look what the selfie dragged it. Like, it works. Again, you gotta play that game. If you're, and obviously the YouTube helps, just being someone like, oh, how do you have 20,000 followers on X and 9,000 followers on YouTube? Like, I've had it where I have posted pictures with me and of other gals that even we're not even like together, but that will bring it's so strange. Then obviously I have posted photos where, yeah, okay, you all clearly together. That piques the interest. And I've heard this from multiple women that they say, like, yeah, we all check our ex-boyfriends, like Insta and their Facebook and whatever kids are using that. I assume TikTok and whatever. And apparently they all check. So the more successful you are on social media, even if you're not, generally the more successful you'll be with women. Again, this is my own personal experience. I'm sure other people that don't have any of that can beat me at a bunch of these things. Anyway, long tangent there. Golden says, strongly agree, IQ is highly heritable, but again, it does not make up for other traits like social skills. You have to get good at it. It's like anything. I was probably pretty awkward as honestly, I don't remember much from when I was a kid. I know clearly I got good at it. Good talk, thanks. No problem. GrumpyX.eth was talking to me the other day about how when people speak, they spoke at ETH Miami, and once they spoke at ETH Miami, as soon as they got done speaking, everyone wanted to talk to them. And I noticed that when I like first started YouTube, where they were like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I was like, oh, well, and some things I can answer, and other things like, dude, I don't know. Like, that's not my specialty. That's not my, I would have no idea. You'd probably have a better, based on your question and how you ask that, you probably have a much better idea than I do. But yeah, it's weird how, like, again, getting on a soapbox or getting on speaking somewhere, get really good at public speaking. Robin Williams said that in some movie, like, English language was made for a single purpose, and it was to woo women. Get good at speaking. Send grammatically correct texts. Don't misspell things. Use ChatGPT or spell check if you need. Develop a decent vocabulary. Look up a word every day, and try to put that into your daily vernacular, and it just helps. Again, be well read, be personable, and then have awesome friends. Build a network that you can, and you don't have to be good friends. Like, call someone where you know that they can do something, and then, you know, obviously be prepared to pay that service back in kind. But they have friends that will talk well about you when you're not there. Have friends that'll be like, yeah, dude, this person's awesome. This person, like, have them talk you up, like, and have women that do that same thing. Because if let's say you're with a girlfriend or any girl or date, and they're like kind of disrespecting you in front of other people, other women, like, that's not good. It's same thing with a dude. Like, if you have like a friend that's like, and I understand, like, different, like military, we're always gonna take cheap shots at each other because that's what we do. But most of that's kind of in private. Maybe sometimes it's in public. But yeah, build that network. If I'm gonna do that, like, get strong, get a good job, specialize in something, be well-rounded, and build that network. So I can explain it. Highly intelligent people are often more neurotic and question themselves more. Less intelligent people may have better superficial confidence and less social inhibition. I can see that. I can see that for a lot. Question myself all the time. I make it a point to. I mean, because God forbid you're wrong. It's like, okay, well, let's assume that everything I'm doing is right, and all the efforts that I put in are really good. That's great. But if I am wrong, then the efforts that I'm putting in are going to be completely counterproductive to what I want to do, because the efforts I'm putting into one thing, and it's the wrong thing to do. It's like, okay, like, I remember back in the 90s, everything was like, all right, no fat. Carbs are good, fat is bad. So everything was like low fat. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna have a bagel, and I'm gonna have turkey. And again, carbs were like the big thing, because, oh yeah, no fat, only carbs and protein. And it's like, okay, you can have that. But then obviously and people thought they were doing the right thing. It's like, okay, actually fats are good. And actually, you know, certain things with like polyunsaturated fat, monounsaturated fat, that's good. Unsaturated fat, not good. Or I'm sorry, trans fat, not good. And science got better. People started to learn the difference between HDL and LDL cholesterol and all that. But yeah, I make it a point to try to question myself on everything, because God forbid I'm wrong. Randy Two Chicks. You mean Two Chicks? Oh, Grumpy, my bad. Have you been listening the whole time? I love you too, man. Just talking about you. All good things. All good things. Oh God, there's some news here. Actually, let's go over the rest of the news that I had from It's 2 days ago now. Funko has said they have substantial doubt about our ability to continue as a company in the next 12 months without extra funding or an acquisition. Sales for the company are continuing to decline. Wonder what we can get them for. Wonder what we can buy them for. Warn people. Bro, is this today's? No, this is yesterday's. Okay, Rick and Morty in 2020 cost anywhere between $45,000 and $90,000 per minute, meaning $1 to $2 million an episode. That is insane that it costs that much. Confirmed range by multiple trade sources: Variety, Cartoon Brew, Screen Rant, includes writing, voice acting, animation, and post-production. Is wild. God, I love this game. ETH Denver is something that might be a little too soon for daCat to go. I'd love to go to it, even if I could just go and I could just represent daCat there. I think I would. But apparently, if you go to the ETH Denver website, they're like taking money for that, like right now, and we just at daCat probably. I don't know if we're gonna do it. daCat will be at a couple of places next year, providing crypto goes up. I don't know if I can sell certain things, but yeah, that we did a space for like an hour and a half today about daCat having a bigger presence at these in-person events, and again, really want to do that. Rising Star saying boots on the ground, telling people about VeVe Official at Wicked Collectors Expo in Columbia, South Carolina. He's going to come on the podcast at some point to talk about it. Indie comic book creator just signed up to VeVe, and maybe we can get them on there. I hope he has his contact info. I'll see if we can get him in the daCat universe. Memes. Yeah, it's wild. Me 12 years ago. Oh my God, look at that face. Such sullen eyes. I was not having a lot of sleep that day. It is what it is. Goldman Sachs November 5th report. They predict 3 Fed rate cuts, with 1 in December, followed by 2 more in 2026. More liquidity would be bullish for the markets. Speaking of the markets, let's see what we're doing here. OMI at 00015, up 4% on the day. We got DEVVE up 7% on the day to 40 cents. I'll take that. Definity up 0.5% on the day to 1.7 cents. Let's do some SHIRO real quick. SHIRO's up 11% on the day, getting that bread. $2.7 million market cap, 473,000 in volume. Go SHIRO. I think they're in for a very good 2026 once the meme narrative hits. Speaking of meme narrative, let's see what the kitty's doing. My daCat up 3.5% on the day with $231 in volume. $1.7 million market cap, $439,000 in liquidity. Let's go. And then I do want to take a quick look at the OMI again to see what the volume was. 2.84 million in volume, $42 million market cap. I'm ready for them to get this bread. Will they? I'm sure. Gonna have to wait a little bit though. Clever Jerk posted a TikTok the other day where he was cutting off the heads of angels, but what he didn't show in the oh God, I'm so sorry, I missed all these messages. What he didn't show was that he was doing that so he could make little baby Grogu desserts, I guess. But the TikTok just shows him cutting off the heads of angels, which is bananas. President Trump announces that he will be paying a tariff dividend of at least $2,000 per person. Stimulus checks are officially back. Let's go, baby. I love this game. President Trump says people that are against tariffs are fools. Now we are the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation and a record stock market. Oh, Sergeant. Oh, okay. That appears to be it. Wow, I did not take a lot of screenshots of it. I was very busy all day. I think that was the last I had to do, right? Do Fridays? Yeah, we're good. We're Gucci. Stacking. I can't wait for Veterans Day in 2 days. It's going to be amazing. All right, everyone, please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Shout out to the 285 people that are watching, and everyone say bye-bye. She, I love you. We have tomorrow Derek Snook on the last seat at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll have my stream at 8. I have a bunch of meetings tomorrow as well. I was supposed to have a freaking meeting today. What time is it in this country? Give me one sec. What? Oh, that's all right. All right. It's Sunday for me still here. I don't know for how much longer. Tomorrow. I mean, okay, we'll see. Maybe he has a few hours left. Anyway, I will talk to you all later. Up again. Meow, 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 meow.